Okay, here we are. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm your host, Darren Campbell. And of course, joining me on Monday after a 2-week hiatus, we had Jason Cameron. We're going to break down the world of sports. We're focusing today big time on week one of the NFL and the UFC. We got a great card to break down and an exciting one. UFC Noche coming up this Saturday at the Sphere. So, yeah, it's gonna be a fun podcast. You told me you were sick. I'm glad you're healthy again. That must have been crappy to be sick for about what, 3, 4 days?
Like, yeah, 4 or 5 days.
Um,
3 of the days had fever, like harsh fever. Like when you're uncomfortable in your own skin because you can't get dry, because you're sweating all the time. You
Not
feel like
good.
grim death. Yeah, it was pretty
Jesus.
sweet, pretty awesome.
Oh, jeez. Sounds brutal. Holy cow. Wow.
Yeah, it was not great, but I managed to get through it. And then what did I tell the people at work? Well, I guess the positive was I lost some weight. So that was nice. That was a nice little bonus,
Oh,
like a
great.
lot.
Wow. Jeez. Did you have to take
Yeah.
anything to get yourself better?
You know what? Nowadays, I try not to take too much. Like sometimes I'll take Tylenol. Actually, I had to take Tylenol definitely because I had a migraine and then I had a sore back for a freaking reason. So I had to deal with that. And then usually my go-to, because as a child, I remember how disgusting it was, and I go, well, it's got to be good for you. Buckley's.
Oh, yeah.
Remember Buckley's?
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Tastes
So
awful, but it works was their
just
tagline.
chugged it down, just chugged down Buckley's, and it was like, oh, it's so good. So,
Great.
yeah, that's what I had. A lot of
Yeah.
Buckley's, a lot of tea, a lot of water, a lot more Buckley's, a lot of sleep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Well, I'm glad you're back at it. We missed you. Everyone missed you. Got a lot of comments from people saying, where the heck's Jason? We miss him. So I'm glad you're back. And
Yeah.
yeah, we were going to do an NFL preview show. Disappointed that we couldn't do that, but it's going to be super fun to break down the NFL week one schedule. As I was watching the Thursday nighter, the Friday nighter, last night's games. Looking forward to tonight's game. I just thought, wow, is the NFL ever amazing at their schedule making? They just do such a phenomenal job year in, year out of figuring out how to put together these matchups that just end up becoming amazing. That game on Thursday between the Ravens and the Chiefs that kick off the season was a spectacular
Awesome.
game between two fantastic organizations, and it goes down to the final play. Same with the
Yeah.
Friday game, goes down to the final play, the Eagles and the Packers. And last night's primetime game, overtime game, we're seeing with the Lions winning. And oh man, it's just amazing how great of a job they do it at putting together the schedule. It's 272 games, and I can't believe how often they get it so right.
Me too. I can't believe, I just can't believe how well the NFL season has started thus far,
Yeah,
with the games that they put in front of us, especially the Thursday night and Friday night's game, which were both awesome games.
awesome, man.
Awesome games, actually, Sunday morning games as well.
Hmm.
And then the Sunday night game was just, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
Beautiful way to end it. Beautiful. Like, I
I
love
I did some deep diving into
it.
who creates the schedule.
Okay.
And they, I guess, basically have 6 NFL executives that are mostly in charge of it. So they put it into a computer system and it puts together thousands of possibilities of it. Lots to do with availability. They have to make sure they have those games against the division rivals. You have to play a certain amount of teams every few years. You have to have battles against the proper divisions. Now they have these Monday games, these Thursday games, Saturday games late in the season, lots of stuff, tons and tons of stuff. So a computer does a lot of scenarios, and then these 6 executives end up really making the final choices. And they have vice presidents and directors and coordinators all under their title, but they all actually have one official name in their titles of their jobs. And I was like, oh, that's brilliant. Can you think of the name that would be in all these titles? The vice president of this, the senior director of that, the broadcasting coordinator. Yeah, all these names of these people that
Would it be whatever
same.
vice president or president of NFL programming or something like that? Would it be something like that?
Broadcasting is the term that's in every single one of these people's titles. The vice president of broadcasting, Michael North, the senior vice president of broadcasting, the broadcasting senior coordinator, Lucy Popko, all of them. And that really makes me think how brilliant they are, because it's all tied into the television product that is making this juggernaut just generate more and more and more revenue year after year after year. And it is such an amazing television product, and it's going to just keep putting that league up and up and up and up. And we were talking just before we started the podcast about the new Dak Prescott contract, 60 million a year, 240 million, 231 guaranteed, and the biggest contract in history. But it's going to be surpassed very, very quickly, and year after year after year after year, and we're going to see $100 million players very soon. And it's because of this incredible broadcasting team and the way that they can keep putting together a television product that is number 1 to number 10 usually every year in North America, and becoming around the world for television product.
Yeah, because they do such a good job. It's the storytelling, it's the broadcasters behind it.
Yeah.
It's the analysts that keep it moving for us, so that it's a very easy game to disseminate because they're so good at their jobs. Yeah. Although I do need to say Tom Brady had a little bit of a rough go of it, but hey, he will get better.
Yeah,
he will get better. Yeah. You want to know why that dude's going to get better? Because he's competitive as hell.
Yeah,
he knows he sucked.
Oh,
it's gonna be all right. Because he's like, if there's one thing he doesn't want the Mannings having anything over him ever.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Oh yeah. But Tom Brady's gonna nail this. You know, you can tell he had nerves. You can tell he was, you know, having a hard time trying to come up with something witty to say in that, really, you know, that short window between the plays. And yeah, he was, he was rusty. He wasn't, you know, the guy that I think we all know we're going to see. He's gonna be so good at it, because he can put himself into so many scenarios that we're gonna see over the years. You know, he had such an extensive career. You know, he's gonna be able to talk. If they broadcast some of the Mahomes games, he's gonna be able to say, "This is why we didn't get that third straight Super Bowl." He's gonna be able to talk about guys that retired and come back. He's gonna be able to talk about struggles, you know, highs, lows, lots of amazing amount of things that he can bring, you know, forth with his experience. So he's going to be great.
Yeah, he's going to be fine. Like, tell me the one broadcaster that came in and just was like, killed that because I'm awesome right out the gate. Like, it's like, brush my shoulders off. I don't think there's ever been a guy, or maybe Bob Costas, but other than him, you know, I don't think there's a guy that just comes off the street and just goes super awesome right out the gate.
Yeah.
Like, I don't, it's going to take time.
Yeah, no, it'll take a little while, but he's a guy that, you know, will dedicate massive amount of hours to it. He's, you know, the most competitive guy that's probably ever lived. That's why he became the GOAT. I heard Belichick talk today, and it was one of the coolest things that I ever heard Belichick say was, I learned way more from Tom than Tom did from me. Way more. And I was pretty blown away, and I was pretty impressed that Belichick said that. He said, you know, I can teach Tom and the players that I coached the things that I see from the sideline, but I can't tell them from what they're seeing on the field. And Tom's on the field, and he can come to the sideline and say, this is what I saw. This is what I needed to see. Or, he had a player's perspective that Belichick was never going to be able to have. And so, it was pretty cool to hear Belichick humble himself enough to say, I learned way more from him than he did from me.
What happened to him? Like, why did he all of a sudden he's engaging and stuff, and he's funny and he's witty, and I'm like, where's the old hoodie I know, like curmudgeon, crotchety, don't like to talk to people? Like, what happened to that guy? Like, what just and all of a sudden now he's just accessible. He's on every TV. That what just happened?
I know. I think he was humbled. Luckily he was humbled. When not one team decided to choose him to be their head coach. I think it had to humble him. I think it had to make him have pause and think, why wouldn't they have, reached out to the GOAT? I'm the GOAT and nobody wants me. What the hell is that? Right. And I think a lot of people that get to these high highs start getting this, ego on them that they need some humility. They need to be, they need
knock
to get
down a peg
a little bit. And I think that's what he's done. And I think it was always there because you do hear from some players that he was witty, he was funny, he had personality, but he didn't want to show it for some reason to the media anytime he ever got in front of them. And Tom Brady said something recent. I think it was maybe last week I saw this. Tom Brady said that I appreciated Bill because he never ever divulged anything that went on behind closed doors. And there was never a game secret that he would have divulged that would have enabled a team to get better prepared for us. And Tom said, I divulged as much as I could from the team that was coming in to play us. I watched every interview, I read every story, and I saw things that actually helped me get ready for them, how they were going to attack us, how they were going to try to defend us, the things that they were going to bring. And he said, Bill never did that. And that helped us a ton.
That's true. He is like a vault. That's why he never said anything to the media. Yeah, that's cool. Next question.
Next question. Yeah. We're on to Cincinnati. Next question. Over and over and over. But I saw his schedule recently, Bill Belichick's schedule, and it was just unbelievable. He's busy every day with certain podcasts, certain TV shows. He's got his own show that I watched today. It was him and Peyton Manning breaking down plays and breaking down the game tonight. They were getting ready to break down the Jets and the Niners game, and right at the very start, Peyton said, this is pretty interesting because you and I, we had our battles and we never got along. It was always just trying so hard to beat the guy. And this is unbelievable that we're doing a show together. And so, to actually him do this is actually kind of cool that, maybe it's to our benefit because we're getting so much of a, brilliant football mind. And, he's trying his best. I've never seen somebody try harder to become well-liked and to be able to spread the genius that he has over the last little while about the game of football.
It's like he just decided I'm going to draw back the Iron Curtain. The Iron Curtain has been closed decades.
Forever. Decades,
right?
Yeah.
And now I'm just going to open it up and people are going to be like, wait, who's this guy?
Yeah.
What the hell just happened? Who's this dude? And I will give it to him. I'll give it to Bill for this because of the insane schedule that he's going to try to keep up for this year, which I hopefully can pull it off. He's 72.
Yeah.
So you think he'd be like, you know what? Maybe I'm going to throttle it back a little bit. But all of a sudden he's just like, hey, wait, who's going to give me money? You're going to give me money? You're going to give me money? You know what? I'll take it all.
Yeah.
Taking it.
Yeah. Well, he probably saw Tom Brady's rumored deal of 375 million and thought, "Whoa, I want a piece of that action." So
Yeah, yeah.
maybe that's where the real money is instead of having to be on the sideline every week.
Yeah, and also too, Bill, it's like you can be happy. Yeah, happy, Bill.
Yeah.
Do you want to be happy again? You remember what that feeling was? You had it like 30 years ago. Remember
Yes.
that?
Yeah,
Remember
yeah.
that feeling of joy?
Never seen him happy until recently, that's for sure. Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
I felt like he took a little shot at Tom today. He was on the Pat McAfee show,
Yeah.
and he said Tom Brady was saying something over and over, and he goes, "Yeah, it was kind of like it was an echo I was hearing." And he said, "Yeah, it just seemed like every few minutes Tom was saying the same thing." And I think it was just a slight little lower dig, but he was saying that I think he was saying that Tom constantly was saying, why are we seeing so many teams throwing the ball behind the line of scrimmage, and then they gotta, get that much farther to
Or
get
the yeah.
positive
Okay.
yardage? Why are you doing that? And he said also, when you get into a zone where you're, going to be able to kick a field goal, run plays that aren't going to back you up, and
Right.
don't make mistakes that will put you out of field goal range
Yeah.
and take
Yeah.
points off the board.
Right.
And I remember hearing Tom say that because I watched that game and I watched it very intensely because I really wanted to see Tom Brady's debut and how he did. But he was reiterating that point quite a bit over the broadcast, but it just felt like he was just giving a little dig, an echo. I kept hearing an echo every time I was watching the game.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I guess Billy's a little bit competitive as well, since now they literally share the same space, so to speak.
Yeah,
So yeah, they're almost like, oh, so I'm in direct competition with my head coach now.
yeah.
This should be good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I again, I believe Tom he's gonna get it. It's just
Yeah.
gonna take some time.
You know how football teams are, all sports teams are. There's always jabs going on.
Yeah,
There's
I
always
love that.
digs. It's all in
Yeah,
fun. It's
yeah,
usually not malicious. And,
sure.
these guys got thick skin. Like they can handle it. Tom Brady, I'm sure didn't read a lot of his press today. Unless it fuels him, maybe, you
You
know,
know it did. You know he did. He's just like, so you think I can't do it, right? Is that what you're thinking? Fine. Let me
yeah,
show you something. That's all he needs.
yeah,
He literally, the dude is cut from the same cloth as Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, which is like, well, you think I can't do it? Cool. Good. Good.
yeah,
Watch me now, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, probably right. Very good chance that he was, just trying to do that because I think I remember him saying, he constantly watched people or viewed what people said about him heading into the NFL and
Yeah.
why he fell that far down the draft rankings and all the teams that didn't draft him and all that kind of stuff. Use it as fuel. Michael Jordan did it, became the GOAT too, constantly a lot of these guys need that. So, okay, so I mentioned the NFL, amazing at scheduling, amazing at matchups. Uh, I thought about that quite a bit when I was watching the UFC this weekend as well, and why that's become such a global sport now too, is the matchups that they can create, that they can give us, that we are so sometimes we don't even realize we want that, and all of a sudden they put it together and you're like, whoa.
Yep.
I've said that recently, and I think this past weekend's cards were really great because both the main event and the co-main event had
Mhm.
veterans in the number 6th ranking position in that division, and in that weight class, and the number 8 up and comer was trying to come and take that position from them. So I thought that was pretty neat that both the main and co-main event was number 6 against number 8, and it was almost the exact same type of scenario for people. They have the matchups coming up this weekend that I just cannot wait. those top 3 fights, I just can't wait. I just wish I could fast forward to Saturday night at about 8 o'clock, and bam, there they will be. And Dana White, Sean Shelby, Mick Maynard, Hunter Campbell, these guys that go into the war room week after week and put together it is mostly for television as well, like the NFL, we said. But I think it's just that they love fighting so much, and they realize what it will take to keep people coming back, paying their hard-earned money, watching these UFCs, paying the pay-per-view money, and just becoming in love with the sport.
Absolutely. Because like, at the end of the day, we want to see great fights, but there's also stories behind the fighters and behind these great fights. So if they can craft a fantastic story along with providing a fantastic fight, then it's a win-win situation for all parties involved, right?
Yeah.
And then speaking of hard-earned money, I think the UFC got a little greedy on this one, because if you can remember, I think they had projected selling tickets, from what I remember, at $3,000 per, and then they had to drop them because nobody was buying the tickets. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Obviously, the production's going to be super expensive for the UFC. They want to try to recoup their money. I understand that, but
there's a limit. There's a limit.
There's a limit.
Yeah,
exactly. That's what I want to get at. There's a limit, and that's why they had to cut it
down. They're spending 10 times the amount of money that they normally spend on a UFC pay-per-view. Usually it's about $2 million for production. This time they're spending 20. So that's why Dana White keeps saying this is a one-off, never going to do it again. He really wants to make a statement also for Mexican Independence Day. Really wants to coin a love letter, is what he said, to the combat world that's come from Mexico and all the amazing stars and stuff. And so it's going to be interesting, because Canelo Alvarez over the past, let's say 10 years has kind of dominated that night, dominated that space. And there will be a Canelo Alvarez fight in Vegas the same night. So that's pretty amazing. I don't know if, either one of them wanted to do it to sort of battle each other, or it just sort of ended up working out that way. But that's going to be an interesting aspect of this whole weekend.
It's going to be a totally interesting aspect, because once that weekend is done, next weekend is done, what I want to know is who had the bigger game.
Yeah.
End of the day. Because then that should dictate to Dana if he wants to try to go head-to-head against Canelo again.
Yeah.
Because if Canelo does a way bigger gate than the UFC, it's like, you didn't knock him off. You didn't even come close. So do you want to do that again? Or do you take a step back and just say, forget it. We'll just let him always have that weekend. I don't think so. I think now that Dana is committed to doing it, I think he's always going to push for it, regardless if he can beat him in the gate head-to-head or not. I think it's always going to be a thing.
Dana announced today that they've had more pre-sale pay-per-view buys than any other fight card that they've ever had. That's what he said. Okay. I guess I have to take him at his word and believe it. I'd be quite surprised, because some of those Conor McGregor pay-per-view buys have been, millions and millions and millions. So I don't, Sean O'Malley definitely moves the needle, but I just don't think he moves the needle like Conor McGregor ever has.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you on that. Like, obviously it's a solid card, but is it solid enough that that's actually what's happening? Like, I would have my doubt.
I just don't know how many people buy the pay-per-view this early, though. Most people buy it the day of. Really, they just, sit down at whatever, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, wherever their time zone is, and they're purchasing it an hour before. So, maybe a lot of those Conor McGregor fights, people hadn't bothered until the day of or the day before or whatever it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I totally hear what you mean, because the last time I heard for how many tickets were still available was around 1,700 tickets.
Okay.
around 1,700. Probably that's decreased quite a bit over the last couple of days, but it was around 1,700.
A friend of mine, I was just spent some time with him on the weekend. He went to the Sphere 3 nights in a row, just maybe a month or so ago. Went and saw the Grateful Dead, the new version of the Grateful Dead there 3 nights in a row, and said, "Wow, what a place! What a spectacular venue, and all the things that they do there." He was in 3 different locations over the 3 different nights, and said, it really was very different from, different vantage points and stuff. And the one thing that I'm really looking forward to is Dana White says that they've hired some type of film director, and he said it's basically, we're putting movies together, and we're putting a movie on between the fight, then we're showing the fight, then there's another movie coming on after the fight, after that fight, between the next fights. And he's like, it's kind of gonna be like a movie with intermissions with fighting, and then another movie. And he said we're even considering putting it on in the UFC or in the Sphere as a performance where the octagon won't be there live, and they'll be able to have it portrayed again, so somebody can come in and watch it again like they would a movie.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's an interesting idea he has. I'm trying to see in my own mind how that would come together. I guess it's just better for me just to watch it and just see how it all comes together. But I'm now, he's definitely piqued my interest. He piqued my interest as soon as they went to the Sphere. So now I'm like, well, what are you gonna do? Like, how's that gonna look? Like, especially even the outside, like when you come to the venue, what kind of graphic is that gonna be? Is it? I'm all in. I'm all in.
Yeah, very cool for sure. Me too. Okay. Before we go further, I want to dedicate this podcast to one of the greatest actors of all time, passed away today, Darth Vader. James Earl Jones lost his life today at the age of 93. One of the greatest actors of all time, one of the greatest voices of all time, definitely known for his voice. So many incredible roles that he played. I especially loved him in Field of Dreams. Loved hearing his voice in so many voiceover movies, and he'll be sorely missed. He's had a lot of health issues because of type 2 diabetes over the past, I think they said about 20 years of his life. But looking on IMDb today, he had 190 acting credits. And when he was a young man, he actually suffered from severe stuttering and had a lot of trouble speaking, did not like speaking in front of people at all, and was able to overcome that challenge and become one of the greatest actors and voices of all time.
That's amazing. I had no idea. Well, you would never be able to tell that. Not now, anyway. Well, yeah, not before. During his acting career, there was no way that you would ever be able to tell. But for him being able to overcome that, it's amazing accomplishment on his part.
Yeah. His last role was Darth Vader in the 2022 Obi-Wan movie, and he also was in the Coming to America movie the year before that as the king there. And so many great roles. I plan to try to reminisce him over the week and watch a bunch. He won all the awards that you can win as an actor. They call it an EGOT, and he's one of those guys. So quite the gem. Lived a really long, great life. 93 years old. So our condolences to his family. But great to look back on a fantastic career. I think all his movies are going to be trending over the next week. We'll see him at the top of Netflix and all the other streaming services.
As we should. And I totally forgot about Field of Dreams when you mentioned it. It's like, oh yeah, that's right. He was in that. He was awesome in that.
Oh yeah.
So that was such a good movie in and of itself.
Oh, big time. Yeah, for sure. Also, some sad news today. The funeral for the Gaudreau brothers was held today in the U.S. Unbelievable that this family has to endure this tragedy. Two brothers killed, primes of their lives, and on the eve of their sister's wedding, and just such a senseless tragedy. It just makes me want to say that everybody just do not drink and drive. They were killed by a suspected drunk driver, and there's way too many options now. Just do not get behind the wheel if you've had anything to drink. There's cabs, there's Ubers, there's friends, there's family, there's walking, there's cycling, there's doing whatever the hell it is. But there's no excuse for it anymore. We don't want to see this. And, this is just enough. We've had enough of it. And I just hope we don't have to, endure hearing about more tragedies because people just won't stop drinking and driving.
Sucks because it was like every time this happens, anytime it happens, it's always preventable.
Yeah.
Just don't jump behind the wheel, right? So, condolences to the family because that's a hard one. That's as hard as it gets.
Johnny's wife stood up onto the podium today and announced to the world that she's 9 weeks pregnant with their third child. So that really was it was stab in the heart to everyone. And she's trying to look on the bright side that she'll be able to have a piece of him again and be able to raise their child and be able to always remember her father or his father. And it was rough. I watched a bunch of the funeral today, and just senseless tragedy.
Absolutely senseless. And hopefully a message will be received by all those that watch. Like these senseless things can be avoided.
Yeah,
it can be avoided. You just have to make the right choice.
Yeah. Okay, just couple news and notes before we start the NFL. Canada Soccer is in celebration mode. They were able to go to the U.S. down in Kansas City over the weekend, and they beat the United States on American soil for the first time in 67 years. So a long drought. That goes back 23 games over the history. Jacob Schaffelberg and Jonathan David got the 2 goals for Canada. They beat them 2-1. Really dominated them big time right from the start, out shooting them 11-1 in the first half, and getting a goal in the 17th minute, the 58th minute, and really just being able to show how much we've surpassed the Americans in the soccer supremacy. In the Copa America tournament that the Americans were hosting, we ended up 4th. The Americans were ousted very early in the tournament. And it's crazy that Canada can beat the U.S. in a sport where, there's so many American soccer players compared to Canada. It's pretty incredible and quite the accomplishment from the boys.
Definitely quite the accomplishment by the boys because, again, as you said, it's been over 6 decades since we've done that, and we should be very, very proud of ourselves for finally getting over the hump, saying, we finally caught you. And we're actually not just caught, we're surpassing you in skill and quality right now. So I don't know how long this is going to last, but this is a very enjoyable moment for Canada.
This bodes well for the competition between the two nations for the World Cup coming up in 2026. It'd be really great to see if Canada can keep playing so well. And I'm sure the Americans will not stand for this. There'll be firings. They'll be rattling every bush and shaking every tree to try to get the best players that they can possibly get. They had a very young team. compared to Canada's. And so I think they'll probably be calling some of the old veterans and asking them to, rethink about putting the boots and the jerseys back on for the American side. So anyway, great accomplishment. Way to go, boys. In the local soccer world, the Whitecaps had a game against FC Dallas on the weekend. Super boring game, absolutely brutal, 0-0 draw. Everyone hated it. It was unbelievable. I just hope the Whitecaps figure out this crap because it was just a terrible game. They sit sixth place in the West. Dallas is 10th. Vancouver just does not look like they're even interested in playing. It's bad. They better get some better talent in here and make this way more an exciting team because they're turning off local soccer fans just every single solitary week.
Yeah, they need an infusion of better players, and maybe they need a coaching change as well. Like maybe from top to bottom, better players, new coach, new infusion of energy because everything seems stagnant.
Yeah. The three teams that are spending the most money are, having the most success. Miami is kicking ass, best team in the league by far, first in the East Division. The two LA teams spending tons of money, getting lots of talent in there, top two teams in the West. And it just shows, you spend the money, you bring in the talent, they're going to win. I don't know why Vancouver doesn't do it. They could fill up BC Place. You get 50,000 fans in there. It's a lot of money you're generating. You'd be able to pay some big salaries.
Oh yeah, definitely. But to generate that money, to entice the fans to get there, you got to put on an exciting product, which we do not have right
now. Nathan Rourke, they just brought him back. They paid him $250,000 for the rest of the year. That's only 5,000 people, $50 tickets. That pays $250,000. So 5,000 people, not a ton. It's already, I think it's already been paid off so far, his coming in. He had a terrible first game, not the greatest second game, but this past weekend, he had an absolutely phenomenal game. They beat the number one team in the whole league, Montreal, and great to see Rourke play so well. Great to see BC go out to Montreal, which is a very tough place. Montreal had only lost one game all year, 10-1 going in. BC gets the huge victory, and Rourke seems to be back.
Yeah, exactly. We knew it was going to take him some time. We knew that. Get familiar with the offense and everything else. But you know what? He's still a very talented young man at the position, and he's now showing it once again.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Just the news and notes from the tennis world. The U.S. Open just wrapped up over the weekend, and the very unpopular Yannick Sinner ended up winning on the men's side. He's the guy that got popped for drugs twice in the lead up to this tournament. They still let him play, and then he rubbed their nose in it by winning it all. The American Taylor Fritz ended up in the final with him. 99% of the fans looked like they were on Fritz's side, but unfortunately Sinner was much better. He beat him in straight sets and took over the win. Very unpopular though. The first Italian man to ever do it, but he shouldn't have even been there after testing positive for drugs. And so, I think the U.S. Open really regrets allowing him into the tournament.
I still don't understand how he got an exemption in the first place. Yeah. He got popped for drugs, and everybody knows it's like, no, it's legit. But you know what? You can play.
Yeah. Pretty stunning. Pretty stunning.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Cool. Great.
Yeah. Unreal. Yeah. Jeez. Yeah, crazy. It was pretty wild. On the women's side, one of the cheaters, also Ariana Sabalenka, she's from Belarus, who's just breeds cheaters. She ended up winning the tournament. And coming in number 2, she faced American Jessica Pegula, who was number 6. Obviously, Pegula, being the American, was the favorite as well, and Sabalenka ended up beating her in straight sets 7-5, 7-5. I felt a bit bad for Pegula. They were both going for their first U.S. Open title, and then she had to face a Belarusian kind of, I don't know, I guess I can't really say cheater, but Belarus has been eliminated from all sporting competitions because of a lot of cheating allegations as well. So, it's just, it really put a black mark on the 2024 U.S. Open, I think.
again. So she got popped for cheating, and then they said, you know what? It's fine. You can play. It's
Yeah.
all good.
Yeah, bizarre. Yeah. Maybe they wanted some
bizarre.
maybe they wanted some villains, maybe they wanted some heels, they wanted to be turned into WWE and make this happen. And but the thing about Pagula I was really hoping for was I'm amazed at how high she has reached in the tennis world with coming from a background where her father's a billionaire. Pagula is the guy that owns the Buffalo Bills, Buffalo Sabres, and it's amazing that usually a billionaire you're thinking of they're just lazing about, hanging around, just not really putting in the work that it takes to be a professional athlete. But good on her. It was amazing to see all the Buffalo Bills players before the game. They all approached the camera that was set up outside the tunnel, and they were all going, "You're going to do it, Jessica. Good luck. You can do it." And all of them kept coming and offering their praise and the wishes, good wishes for her. And it was pretty wild. And I'm very impressed with her. I was really cheering for her big time. I'm sad that she won, that she ended up losing.
Yeah, but she's already won in life, so at least she has that going for her.
True, yeah.
But that is actually, as you just pointed out, that is surprising that she has accomplished that much when she has that much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's all due to her hard work. Yeah. So good on her. Congratulations to her.
Yeah. If you were a billionaire, how much hard work are you putting in?
0. I'm not doing anything ever again. Like, I'd look at my father and my mother and be like, this is how it is now. This is me not doing anything. The rest of my life. Yeah. Don't ask me to run the company. Get my younger brother, my older sister, get them to do stuff. I'm going to be the one that does nothing. Nothing.
Yeah, I thought so.
I'm always going to be on vacation on a boat. Yes, that's what I do.
Nice.
I'm that kid.
I love it. I love it. The other controversy that happened about the U.S. Open was Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce ended up going to the game on a double date with Patrick Mahomes and Brittany Mahomes. And all of a sudden, the media is calling them trailer trash. They started singing a bunch of songs. They started dancing. Taylor was twerking on Patrick. They were acting a little uncouth compared to everybody else that's there trying to be high class and prim and proper. And they have just been lambasted in the media for just being trashy. I guess they were making out. They were doing a lot of things that's really first kind of bad media that I've heard since these two have got together.
Do they care? Like, it's media, right? Like honestly, like, does Taylor go, oh no, my ticket sales? I don't think it's gonna affect that. No. I don't think anything's gonna affect that. It's like, people, you have to understand, good, bad, all good for me.
Yeah.
All good. You know what it just means? More money.
Yeah.
Just more money for Miss Taylor Swift. And hopefully for Travis Kelce going, gotta put a ring on that finger real quick here. Gotta do something about that.
Yeah.
Travis, I wish you the best of luck, my friend. Hopefully you get that done real quick.
Yeah. Did I say on this podcast ever how much Taylor Swift's cat's worth?
I think we've talked about that before. The cat is worth more than Travis has ever earned career earnings in the NFL, period.
Yeah.
Like both cats.
I think her other cats are poor, not just but she has one cat that's super rich. It's kind of
the one cat is just like, yeah. Like, could you imagine walking to a house and the cat goes, what are you doing here? Hey, pick me up. Bop, bop. Like, you just hit him, and then you have to pick him up, put him on his shoulder. It's like, that's right, human. You carry me around. That's how it goes.
I can see it doing that. Yeah, it's living a charmed, spoiled life. I think the last time I checked, it's worth $97 million. So it's pretty. It's gonna be eating some great foods, getting a lot of attention. I'm sure it's living a charmed life.
Could you imagine walking into Taylor Swift's house and knowing, so I'm the third earner in the house. I can't even crack 2.
Yeah.
cat second. The cat's looking at you with the cigar
Unbelievable.
going, yeah, that's
What
right,
is
I
this
am
world
second.
coming to when your cat's got $97 million? Oh my God.
Yeah.
So,
And again, so you know what? Guess why they would act like trailer trash? My cat earns $97 million. I don't care what you people think.
yeah, exactly. I'm sure they do not care at all. Yeah. Uh, College football. The first weekend was pretty good in college football. This past weekend was just unbelievable. It was like almost every single matchup was a complete mismatch. It was pitting David against Goliath, and it was just slaughters all around. It was kind of bizarre. That's how a lot of these teams pad their records and get to 12-0, 13-0 and stuff. Some of the scores were crazy. Like number one Georgia won 46-3. Number two Texas won 31-12, which was against Michigan, who was actually ranked. Ohio State won 56-0 at number three. Alabama, number four, won 42-15. Number five, Ole Miss beat Middle Tennessee 52-3. It was just insane, super brutal. Beat down after beat down after beat down. I watched a couple games. I did watch that Texas Michigan game, 31-12. Not that great. I did try to watch a little bit of the Notre Dame game, and they had the worst upset in their history, I think I heard. They got beat by a little team called Northern Illinois, 16-14. Really brutal for many Notre Dame Irish fans. There's in the top 25, there's only 4 teams with a loss, but because of the expanded format, it's automatically just 1 or 2 losses is going to take you out. So it's kind of unique and weird how it's set up. But the 4 teams with 1 loss are number 16 LSU, 17 Michigan, 18 Notre Dame, and number 20 Clemson. Everybody else is 2-0. I did try to watch the Colorado-Nebraska game. I thought Colorado would have a pretty good performance. Slaughtered 28-10. It looks actually that score flattered them, but they unfortunately did lose their top tackler, Deion Sanders' son, Shiloh Sanders. He got a broken forearm, had to have surgery today. Looks like he will probably miss the entire season, and that was quite the blow. Shadur Sanders was running for his life. He's still got a horrible offensive line. The guy was sacked so many times and just was pressured every time he dropped back. It was brutal. I don't know why they haven't been able to get a solid offensive line to protect the guy, but that's going to be their downfall for sure.
Yeah, that was their problem last year,
Yeah.
and it's still their problem this year.
Yeah.
I guess they weren't able to entice anybody to come over through the transfer portal, get some of those big Georgian offensive linemen to say, hey, do any of you guys want to come over? Like any of you. Any of the guys that's not even playing. Like your third straight. No, we're good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe the linemen don't like the elevation. Maybe that's what they're thinking. I don't want to go there and be that elevated. I don't know what it is, but yeah, it was bizarre to watch, and they're never going to be able to figure it out unless they get the protection they need. So, but yeah,
Absolutely.
college football, I'm sure it'll get better. Last week was just kind of a write-off. It was just try to pad your record, try to get to 2-0, and keep moving on. So, but let's get to the NFL now. Week 1, we had it. There's lots of stories, but our format has been covering the NFL, starting with the NFC East. So let's do that again. We'll start with the Dallas Cleveland game. It was pretty surprising how much a absolute blowout this became. Lots of pundits, when I was watching the pregame show, were actually picking Cleveland. They said their defense is much better. They seem to be able. They're going to be able to shut down Dallas. Dallas has weakened over the last year, losing a lot of talented guys, and a lot of people were picking Cleveland. This was not a close game at all, and Dak Prescott off his brand new contract, was able to come in, have a half decent game, and really just manage it well enough to just dominate Cleveland and get the big 33-17 win.
Yeah, they dominated them.
Yeah.
They dominated them. They dominated them in every aspect. Like it was the kind of game where the Browns were lucky to just score 17 points.
Yeah.
Like that's what it felt like to me. Where it's just like you're lucky you even put 8 points on the board. It wasn't just like 33-0. Like it was just there. At no point in time did I think that the Browns were going to come back and make this into a challenge for Dallas.
Not at all. No. Yeah, I'm surprised that Dallas reached back and got Ezekiel Elliott back.
Yeah,
lost Tony Pollard. I didn't think Zeke had much left in the tank, but half decent game, was able to get a touchdown. And just CeeDee Lamb was pretty good, but we've seen him have way more dominant games. I think the Devontae Turpin punt return for a touchdown was massive. And I think, awesome. 75, 80% of the time when you score a touchdown in that fashion, usually win a game. They have the best field goal kicker possibly in the league and the best return guy. So special teams is pretty dominant and will help them a lot this year. But this was not even a close game whatsoever.
It wasn't a close game. Did I see anything from Deshaun Watson to say, "Oh man, he's bad"? No, man, no. Like I'm sorry. Like I look at Deshaun Watson and I'm thinking to myself, if this is what we see going forward for the rest of the season, do you have anybody else to play?
Yeah.
Besides him, or do you just gonna run with him because it's not looking very good? And by the way, the Browns should have kept Flacco around. Yeah. I have no idea why they let him go.
No kidding.
That one move right there made no sense to me.
Yeah.
Because the team loved Joe Flacco. They responded well to him, and they needed him. And then they just like, you know what? Deshaun's our guy. No, Joe. You go off and find yourself another team. We're gonna stick with this dude. Yep, it's gonna work out real well for you.
Horrible move. And shocking that they gave up on Flacco, because he helped them have a great year last year, and he was super solid. And it's amazing that they've given up on him. There was a graphic put up on the screen partway through the game that they've gone through 38 starting quarterbacks since 1999, and it was a unbelievable list of guys who came in with so much promise. Oh, this guy's going to be the one to take Cleveland far. And, he would usually last a year and be turfed out, sometimes even less than that. And it was just unbelievable to see the list. A lot of names jumped out to me. Tim Couch, Ty Detmer, Doug Peterson, Trent Dilfer, Colt McCoy was supposed to be the answer, Brian Hoyer, Johnny Manziel, Robert Griffin III, Tyrod Taylor, Baker Mayfield, Case Keenum, Jacoby Brissett, Deshaun, Joe Flacco, and on and on and on. Oh my God, just crazy how bad this organization has been run, and how mismanaged they have been at that position. And Deshaun Watson, probably the worst contract in NFL history handed to this guy. And they can't move on from him. The dead money that happens on their cap is just even more outrageous than keeping him on there and hoping for the best. But I think during the entirety of this contract, he's only played 13 games, and really isn't doing anything good for this organization at all. He's washed up. And today we just hear that he's being charged for sexual assault on a woman that wasn't part of that original lawsuit and all the things that were happening. This is a totally separate event, and it just came down today that he's having to face a allegation of sexual assault. So Obviously, something's really wrong with him. And, this was a really terrible move by Cleveland, who's had terrible moves for the past 25 years at least.
Holy, oh, holy shit. Like, Jesus, like, wow.
Yeah.
You guys got yourselves a winner. Look at this dude. Like, you gotta be kidding me. I can't like if this is I don't know about timetables. Like if this happened along the same timeline as all the other stuff happened. We don't know what that or if this is
I heard it was I heard that the incident happened in 2020, and it's
okay.
just I don't know why it's just finally
Now it's just coming to light now.
Yeah.
Because like this is like, oh my God, oh my goodness. Like you should never have given this man money. Period. That's what it's coming out to. It's like you should never have given this man money. The Texans were just like, wait, you want him? We'll give him to you. Go for it. All right, we're moving on from him. Because now the Texans are like, yeah, CJ Stroud, baby. We're good.
Yeah, and they got like I think they got 3 first-round draft picks and other stuff for him too. So awesome. Crazy, insane. I think this Dak Prescott contract will actually be maybe one of the worst contracts ever handed out too, because regular season success is great, but it doesn't really matter in Dallas. You need postseason, playoff success, and you need to win a Super Bowl. But it's nowhere in the same ballpark as Deshaun Watson. Deshaun's second worst is like miles above it, no matter what.
Yeah, exactly. So Dak can always hang his hat on. Well, I'm not that guy, so I'm pretty good. We're doing pretty good over here. And you never know. Maybe Dak just goes, you know what? 60 mil. I'm the number one guy. He's better than Mahomes. Maybe it's our time. Maybe we win this year. Wouldn't that be something?
Oh, wouldn't that be amazing? Yeah. Hell would freeze over, I think, but pretty crazy. I feel bad for a lot of the Browns players. David Njoku hurt, looks like pretty serious injury there. Myles Garrett, phenomenal talent on the defensive side, but had a really pedestrian game and didn't do a ton over that game. And Dallas is easily wins that game. Dallas hosts the Saints Sunday early window. The Browns go to the Jags also same time Sunday, the early window. Okay, let's talk about that Eagles victory over the Packers on Friday night down in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Probably the worst field that I can remember, maybe in my lifetime. The conditions of that field was ridiculous. I'm shocked that it didn't lead to a bunch of injuries. Jordan Love did get hurt at the very end of this game, and that's kind of the biggest story that's coming out of this. But I can't blame that on the turf. But holy cow, this worries me for the World Cup coming to North America. We tried to bring our football to South America. They're trying to bring their version of football to North America, and wow, it was terrible. I can't believe how much bad press they've got. They didn't figure it out. It's kind of weird that they would put this on and get it so wrong.
You know what I was actually more, I guess, distressed about is that the NFL didn't have their people go down there to survey the field before the game started.
Yeah.
They should have had somebody go down there to take a look at the field to make sure it was up to snuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they didn't do that.
No.
So that's what you had to deal with. And if you want to grow it into being this international thing, lesson learned. You're going to have to go to these arenas and make sure the thing is where it should be. Yeah. At the level that the players need to be for player safety. If you always tell player safety this and player safety that, well, then you're going to have to do your job and make sure that the field's up to that level for player safety.
Yeah.
Number one. Number two, I was just happy to hear that nobody from either team died because they were in Brazil. Sounds quite dangerous. So that was cool. And everybody made it home good. So, all right. So, you know what? In that regard, Mission accomplished.
It was a win-win.
Everybody made it home alive. All right, good stuff. Good for them.
Nice.
Way to go, NFL.
Good point. Yeah. Okay, what stands out most for me? Okay, Jordan Love, actually, let's just talk about that briefly. Really tough to see.
Yep.
He came in before this Dak Prescott contract. He was the highest paid NFL quarterback. Sat behind Aaron Rodgers for many years in Green Bay. Finally got his opportunity last year. Had a phenomenal year. Was able to get a huge win in the playoffs, and really looked like he was the future. Glad that it's not a serious knee injury. They calling it an MCL sprain, out 3 to 4 weeks. So that was really good news. Sad that he's not gonna that he's got to miss any games at all. But I guess this is the best case scenario.
Best case scenario for sure. And also too, considering the fact like the game was amazing, and Jordan Love had himself a great game until he was knocked out with the injury. 17 to 34, 260 yards, 2 TDs, 1 interception. But the guy that was his target, Reed, had an exceptional game.
Yeah.
4 receptions of 138 yards, just 4. I love that, with 1 touchdown, and also 1 carry for 33 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Like, I think the Packers have one of the sneaky best receiving cores in the NFL. Yeah. Nobody's talking about it.
Pretty surprising, isn't it? Yeah. When Aaron Rodgers was there, he just said, "Well, I got a whole bunch of young bums here, and they suck, and I don't know what to do. I throw the ball, they don't catch it. What the hell else am I going to do?" And these guys have all emerged under Jordan Love as really big weapons, and to read the ball only 5 times, and he puts up that kind of yardage and scores a couple touchdowns, unreal. They do have. I love Dobbs. I love Reed. Really smart bringing in Jacobs. I think he's going to be a force there too. And he was able to get over 100 yards too. And but on the other side of the ball, I'm really happy to say that Saquon Barkley has finally found a great home. And it's amazing that the Giants, how sad of an organization they are, they allowed Saquon to leave and go to a division rival in Philly and rub it in their face immediately, scoring 3 touchdowns and just really showing that the Giants do not know how to treat their athletes, and other division rivals will welcome in with open arms. And this is going to really help Philadelphia bounce back from a really incredible choke and collapse last year at the end of that season, and really become one of the top teams in the NFC.
Yeah, like that's just a dangerous backfield with Hurts and Saquon back there now. Like that's as dangerous as it gets. Yeah. With the fact that I'm just happy. I'm so happy for Saquon.
Yeah.
109 yards, 24 carries, 2 touchdowns, 2 receptions, 23 yards, another touchdown. And he was the one that carried the Giants offense for years.
Yeah.
For years. Yeah. And now he just goes, wait, is this what it's like when you have help?
Weapons and help.
Yeah. Wait.
Yeah.
It's so much easier. So much easier.
Okay.
Like, I think he's just like, he's probably in shock going, wow.
So great.
Wow, look at all this open green grass I have.
Yeah.
Look at that. Because they have to worry about other people, not just me.
Yeah.
They just don't key on me. They got to worry about everybody else. And so I think he's going to flourish. He's going to flourish in that offense.
Oh, yeah. You got Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown on the outsides, 2 of the top receivers in the game. AJ had a great game with 5 catches, 119 yards, and a touchdown. His 67-yard catch was amazing. Devontae had a great game as well with 7 catches for 84 yards. And they were able to get some really good performances from their defense as well. Zach Braun, their linebacker, 11 tackles, 4 assists, and 2 sacks on the night. And Reed Blankenship had 4 tackles, 4 assists, and had a pick. They had a little bit of trouble holding on to the ball. They had 3 turnovers, and that's kind of what kept this game close, I think, or Philly ends up kind of running away with this if they don't have those 3 turnovers.
Yeah, absolutely. Philly would have ended up running away with it if they didn't commit those 3 turnovers. But since they did, it was a very entertaining game.
Very entertaining game. Yeah, fantastic. Really good way to start the year. And yeah, luckily those people in Brazil got to see one of the best NFL games they're ever going to see. Comes down to the last play. So yeah, I loved it. I just really wish the field had turned out better. But all in all, a good first foray down into South America. This coming weekend, the Packers host the Colts. The early game. The Eagles host the Falcons, your team, the Monday nighter. So that's a great performance, or that's a great matchup that I'm seriously looking forward to. It should be fun. Falcons played pretty crappy this weekend, but they have a chance to bounce back on the Monday nighter.
Yeah, I'm hoping for the best. Come on, Kirk. Brought you in there for a reason, buddy. Just pick it up. Make my team better. Make my team better. I'm begging you.
Okay, still sticking with the NFC East. Let's talk about the Commanders. They end up getting beat by the Bucks 37-20. This game featured the newly minted $100 million man. Baker Mayfield looked great. Had a phenomenal game. Was able to throw for almost 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. And the weapons that he has there, Godwin, Evans, you just gotta love Rashad White. You gotta love so many weapons that they have. They were able to really showcase it well in a pretty easy victory over Washington.
He looked awesome, like
Yeah.
like the Baker of old.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like I think we can start again with Baker we trust. Baker we trust. Once
Yeah.
again.
Oh, yeah.
Like he was amazing. Like
Yeah.
24, 30, 289, 4 touchdowns, another 3 carries for 21 yards, some hard Baker yards.
Yeah.
So that's always good to see. And the fact that he has Mike Evans, that one touchdown that he threw, where it was the fade to the corner, and Evans, it was tight coverage. Like that's as good as coverage as that guy could have played. Evans still made the catch.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, well, that's why he's one of the best in the league. Don't forget, don't sleep on that. Mike Evans still one of the best.
Yeah.
And yeah, Mayfield looked absolutely incredible.
Sure did.
Great game. And I was very impressed though with Jaden Daniels as a rookie coming in.
Yeah.
No mistakes.
Right.
No picks. 17 20, 184 yards. But it was the running that was super impressive. 16 carries, 88 yards, 2 touchdowns. You know what? Not bad. Not bad,
Yeah.
Rook. Not bad.
Yeah. There's a lot of hype, obviously, on the number one. Like he was number 2 overall. Caleb Williams number 1. He's number 2. Then we're going to talk a lot about a lot of these rookie quarterbacks. Most of them didn't have very good games. The only guy since 2002 that has won their opening game as a number 1 overall pick is Caleb Williams, and they didn't even score any offensive touchdowns or anything. So, usually you're going to hurt bringing in a rookie quarterback. You're going to have some growing pains. You're going to have some difficulties. And usually, obviously when you're picking high up, you were terrible last year too. So you're going to have to build in many areas of your team. But to me, Jaden Daniels, I think, had the best rookie showing out of all the quarterbacks out there. He's still with a team that needs a lot of help in many areas, but to be able to, put up the yardage that he did, score a couple touchdowns himself on the ground, and also, like you said, no mistakes, which is really, really key for a rookie quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's what all the rookies have to really focus on the most. Is like try to keep the mistakes down to a minimum.
Yeah.
Try to do that and try to win the game. Try to manage the game properly and go forward and try to win the games. But don't turn over the ball. Try your best not to turn over.
I think Washington's going to have a half decent year. They're probably win 5 or 6 games or whatever it is. But they brought in Austin Eckler, who I'm a huge fan of. I think that was a really great move. I like Brian Robinson. They're good running back. I like Terry McLaurin. I think they have a lot of key great weapons. and I think their defense is pretty damn solid. They didn't show it in this game, but like you say, Mike Evans made a phenomenal catch. A lot of the plays that the Bucs made were really, really good, and the defense couldn't have done anything much more.
Exactly. Like the Bucs were just, they were on.
They were
very,
on,
very
yeah.
much on.
They were very on.
And the defense was very much challenged by the Bucs offense. So.
Yeah. The Commanders host the division rival Giants, so I see a victory for them there. That's in the early window on Sunday, and the Bucs go to Detroit to face the Lions, same early window. So that'll be a great matchup. I look forward to that one coming up this Sunday. Okay, the last team, we just mentioned the Giants, last team in the NFC East here. They were having their 100th anniversary season. They brought in the top 100 players over their history, and they had the player there or a representative, somebody if they've passed away or they weren't able to make it there. And there is a very long storied history. Unfortunately, they've fallen on very hard times right now, and they were booed off the field most of their drives during this entire game. They can't stand Daniel Jones right now, and most of this team, and it's rough there. It was really, really bad to hear that many Giants fans just booing their head off at their team already, and it was, only a few series in, they were already saying, "Get the heck out of here. We need a new quarterback. We need a new team, please."
Yeah, no, it was for me. It was kind of funny because it's like we would take these old guys to make a team, and I think it would be better than the current team right now.
Yeah, I loved seeing the old two old coaches, Tom Coughlin and Bill Parcells there. I love seeing Tiki Barber, Lawrence Taylor, Eli Manning. They had Phil Simms there, Kerry Collins, Amari Toomer, Mark Bavaro, Victor Cruz, Jason Sehorn, Jason Pierre-Paul, Leonard Marshall. Yeah, just
that's a pretty good team.
So many great guys. It was amazing to see the history of this team, and there's not too many guys on this current roster that could supplant any of these top 100 guys.
Well, there's none. There's like zero. There's zero guys on the current roster that could do that.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm sure the coach was like, "Do you guys want to suit up? Any of you?
Yeah.
Like right now, please."
Yeah. He should have.
Like I'm begging,
Like, awesome.
Any of you guys. I'll take any one of you.
We're bringing
LT,
10. We're getting 10 guys off the practice roster. Off the garbage heap. Here they come. Also, for some reason, they wore these uniforms that were one of the ugliest looking NFL uniforms I've ever seen in my entire life. People were comparing them to the Montreal Canadiens jerseys, and I thought that was a complete slap in the face because I think Montreal Canadiens jerseys are phenomenal. These were just horrifically ugly, and I don't know who would have even put them together and said, "Oh, yeah, this is what we're gonna wear season opening night." Just so brutal.
I think it's because they just know it's like we're brutal anyway, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna come out with brutal jerseys. Because like this is gonna be representative of our entire season. See how ugly this stuff is? That's how ugly our football is.
Maybe. Ugly, yeah. Oh my God. I thought Sam Darnold looked great in this game. Good to see him.
Yeah,
another guy that came off the garbage heap and was able to come in. I thought he looked very solid. Had a couple touchdowns, over 200 yards, and found his favorite guy that's going to be Justin Jefferson. Was able to get a touchdown from this new kid Jalen Speedy Naylor. Threw him a touchdown pass. Everything was great except Jordan Addison, one of their top guys, was unfortunately hurt. He was their top catcher last year with 70 catches for over 900 yards and 10 TDs. He was pretty banged up and definitely will be missing some time.
That sucks. That does suck for the Vikings, but they had a great showing. And also, too, I wanted to mention Aaron Jones. He had a great game. I think 14 carries, 94 yards, and a touchdown. So he looked really good in his for his new team.
Yeah.
And then you know what? Daniel Jones, all right, 22 of 42, just 186 yards, 2 interceptions.
Oh,
You know what? Not really much to say there, but their new rookie sensation receiver, Malik
Malik
Neighbors,
Neighbors.
5 receptions, 66 yards. They're going to be their bright spot,
Yeah.
and he's going to literally be their only bright spot throughout the entirety of the season.
Sure.
What Jones needs to do is focus on just passing him the football as much as he can throughout the
Yeah.
course of the season. That's it.
Yeah, they're gonna struggle, but yeah, he's a lone bright spot, and yeah, we'll see him quite a bit, I'm sure, on the box scores. But yeah, it's gonna be a tough year in Giants land. When we saw Johnny Lopez at the wrap party, he said he's going to see a Giants game pretty soon, so he's pretty excited.
Oh, well, he's super lucky. Like, wow, you have to go see the Giants, just see like just the chaos and just like the majesty. Look at this team. You know how brutal they are. Just look
Yeah.
man, I hope they wear those ugly jerseys for him too again.
Oh yeah,
God, I hope so.
I'll have to send him a text after this and say, let's hope that fingers
I
crossed.
I am praying for you that they wear those ugly jerseys and put on another fantastic. He's not a Giants fan, by the way.
Oh
Please
yeah,
tell me he's not a
massive
Giants
Giants fan. Yeah, yeah.
fan. Then
Uh,
please laugh at him too and just be like, oh, you have years of abuse coming at you. Just
yeah.
years,
Yeah, it's gonna
years
take
of
a while to
suffering.
dig out of the hole there, and it's gonna
Oh
take
yeah.
a
Oh
while.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, as I said earlier, the Giants go to Washington, division battle. The Vikings host the 49ers on Sunday. 49ers are playing tonight. We'll get to that in a second. Okay, let's turn to the NFC West and let's talk about the Seahawks. They had a game against the Broncos, and Seattle outscored Denver 17-7 in the second half. Got a good game from decent game from Geno Smith. Got a great game from Kenneth Walker, and both DK and Lockett both had some catches. One of the really bright spots on defense is Julian Love there. That pick that he made right at the goal line was super key, and I think really was the main catalyst why they won this one.
And also too, I just want to say it was just the Seahawks defense, period.
Very good. Very
Yards
good.
after the catch for the Broncos was pretty much non-existent.
Yeah.
It didn't really happen.
Yeah.
They were on top of them as soon as they caught the ball. They were tackled immediately. That was the one thing that stood out the most to me in this game. I was super impressed.
Yeah.
The Seahawks defense, I think that's their real thing.
Definitely,
they look like they could be a top 10 defense, if not higher, the rest of the season.
Bo Nix, rookie, had his opportunities, but I don't remember seeing somebody complete 26 passes and only having 138 yards. I think I think he was almost always just throwing it, to the side, dump offs. Maybe like the farthest that he threw it downfield was 1 or 2 or 3 yards. It was crazy. That's maybe a way to keep a young quarterback from making mistakes by throwing it down there. He did make a mistake on that pick that Julian Love had, but yeah, 2 interceptions from him. He made those mistakes that Jaden Daniels didn't make.
Exactly. He made those mistakes. Those are the growing pains that you're going to have with a rookie quarterback. And yes, I still credit the Seahawks defense, but yes, they did go up against a rookie quarterback who they forced into making those mistakes. Yeah. And well, I guess the Broncos, at least they don't have to deal with Russell Wilson, so good for them for that. There you go. Yeah, it's a positive.
Yeah. Yeah, the Seahawks got the touchdowns from Kenneth Walker, as I mentioned, and their backup running back, Zach Charbonnet. He got a 30-yard touchdown catch. So, yeah, their running game looks good. They've got those weapons on the outside. I think Seattle's going to have a pretty decent year. They go to New England this Sunday. Should be an easy victory, though New
Yep.
England's shocked Cincy, so you never know, I guess. The Broncos host the Steelers, and that's in the afternoon window, 1:25 Pacific, 4:25 Eastern time. Okay, sticking with the NFC West, let's talk about the Niners and the Jets really briefly. I'm recording the game, so I don't really want to know too much. I think the last time I
Yeah.
saw it was like 13-7. But yeah, I don't want to talk about the score necessarily. I just really wanted to focus on Christian McCaffrey being scratched right before the game. I think that kind of caught everyone by surprise. He was banged up in the preseason, but I thought he was going to be ready. Maybe it was precautionary that they're holding him out, but a calf and Achilles injury, and he's missing the opening night.
I think that's more precautionary. Hopefully, that's all it is. But if there's one thing that we've seen with other athletes, you don't really want to mess around too much with the calf Achilles.
Yeah.
Because if he snaps the Achilles, well, then that's the season and that's over. So
Yeah.
I think them bringing him along as slowly as possible, if that's what they need to do, then that's what they should definitely do.
Right.
Period.
Yeah.
They got enough weapons. They can get by without him. They
True.
can.
Speaking of Achilles, 364 days ago, Aaron Rodgers took 4 snaps under center, snapped his Achilles, and was out the entire year. He's returning as a 40-year-old man, not being able to play at all last year. What do you think we're going to see from him tonight and the season as a whole?
Well, first off, I hope he plays this season. Like that. That's first and foremost.
Yeah.
And I want this for the Jets fans because of just they've suffered so much for so long.
Yeah.
Like this is what they need. They need this.
They have the
All
longest
right?
drought from the playoffs. 2010 is the last time they made the playoffs. So the longest drought in the NFL currently.
No, that's like, yeah, they really need this. They really, really need this. I think Aaron still has something left in the tank. I think he definitely has something to prove because he came to the Jets to lift them up. And the Jets literally have everything they need. They just need the quarterback.
Yeah.
Everything else is in place.
Yeah.
Like everything else for that team is in place. He just needs to be the Aaron Rodgers that he knows he can be. And if he can do that, the Jets are going to be very, very good this year. Yeah. They're going to be very, very good. Like Tom Brady's shown, it's like, I was in my 40s and I was still like, awesome, probably because I'm Tom Brady. Aaron just needs to tap into that and be like, well, I'm Aaron Rodgers and I am 40. I think I'm still pretty good. If he can do that, Jets are going to be great.
Yeah. They're facing the Niners, who have a very long and storied history. Won a lot of Super Bowls, had tons of success throughout our lives. Guess who has the franchise record for most passing yards in a season?
Most passing yards in a season. Young?
Good guess. Take another one.
No.
No.
It would be Young or Montana. I don't know. And if it's none of those, then it's Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy. Can you believe that?
Oh, you gotta be kidding.
Joe Montana was the GOAT before Tom Brady ever came around. Steve Young came in, was amazing, after that. And somehow Brock Purdy last season was able to have more yards in a season than they had. His numbers last year were 4,280, and that set the 49ers record. Blew my mind when I saw that today. Incredible. Will he be able to do what he's done and have, incredible success? Took the team all the way to the Super Bowl last year, and they lost in overtime. Unbelievable that Mr. Irrelevant to setting franchise records, taking a team to the Super Bowl. Do you think he's still going to have a great year?
I think he's going to have a great year because he has Shanahan as a head coach. So, yeah, I think he's going to be just fine.
Nice.
Because that Kyle Shanahan is a wizard. That dude is awesome. He has an awesome offense constructed around the strengths of all of his weapons on offense.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be just fine this year. I think he's going to do great.
Great. Well, I'm sure all the Niners fans out there will love to hear you say that. And let's hope. Let's hope. The
Yep.
49ers go to Minnesota on Sunday, play the Vikings there. The Jets head to the Titans, both in the early window on Sunday. Okay. Sticking with that NFC West, we've got the Cards and the Bills, which turned out to be a really fantastic game. Kyler Murray looked really great after missing quite a bit of time last season. He had the Cardinals out front 17-3 with little more than 2.5 minutes left in the second quarter. And then Josh Allen said, "Hey, hold on. I'm good. I'm going to be able to take this over." Josh Allen scored a touchdown himself running, comes out of the tunnel in the second half, threw two straight 11-yard touchdown passes, one to Mac Hollins, one to Khalil Shakir, and got Buffalo back in front to stay. Allen had another fantastic game. One of those 2 touchdown passing, 2 touchdown running. Just really proved that he's still an elite guy that can really throw the team on his back and get victories for Buffalo and be able to be one of those top teams in the conference.
He's one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the association. We know that. I think Allen also has the one guy off his back that he always had to placate. That's Stephon Diggs. And now that he doesn't have, sorry, Diggs, that distraction anymore, I think this benefits him, and I think it benefits the offense.
Yeah. So his fourth game with 2 passing touchdowns and 2 rushing touchdowns in the same game, tied for the most ever with a guy that you just mentioned a couple minutes ago, Steve Young. So that's tied for a record there. And he has
not bad.
He has 10 games in his career with 2 rushing touchdowns, and that's just 2 behind Jalen Hurts. So those two are going to be battling. He's tied with Cam Newton, who had 10 in his career, but Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen. Hopefully, we have many, many, many more years to come to see those guys scoring at least 2 rushing touchdowns a game.
Yeah, definitely, man. Like I was just impressed. I was impressed and amazed that this game was actually super competitive.
Yeah. Because
obviously Kyler Murray, I guess it's a good thing they put it in his contract. It's like you got to watch tape sometimes and like do your job. So apparently he's been doing his job.
Yeah.
Because like this was an awesome game.
Yeah.
This was a fantastic game. And the one guy that didn't show up here as much as I thought he would is still Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, only 1 catch for 4 yards. Yeah, that was shocking. I was surprised they didn't have him as a target. I thought, he would be one of the top targets for Kyler.
I don't think that's going to be a thing going forward for the rest of the season. I think he's going to have bigger games than a 4-yard game, but he could have been the difference maker. He was not. Maybe the Bills keyed on him, whatever have you. Still, it was a magnificent game. And if we're going to see more of this kind of like effort from Kyler, the Cardinals might be in a good spot here.
Yeah.
They might be in a very good spot. Better than what I thought they would be.
And we finally saw a kickoff return for a touchdown with the new rules. We weren't sure how many returns we're going to see. And, it's improved, I think, from last year's. DJ Dallas ran a kickoff back 96 yards for a touchdown. So he'll be in the record books. And hopefully we get to see many, many, many more. I really hope they push it back even a little bit farther, kicking back instead. There's too many still going through the end zone. I think they should still bring it back even closer to their own end zone and give a lot more chances at these run backs.
Yeah, because I'm going to be honest, it took a little while for me to get used to because I'm like, wait, what's happening? Why is nobody moving? Right? It takes a while, but then once it starts moving, you're like, oh, okay. So they're giving the guy a chance, right? Because now the coverage is so good. That's why they're doing it like this. So I'm like, oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
And because even seeing the DJ Dallas like that touchdown, that dude was not actually that fast.
No.
Hey, but he still got the touchdown, so I was pretty impressed.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, the Cards host the Rams on Sunday. That's the later window, and the Bills face their division rivals Miami in Dolphin Land, and that's the Thursday nighter. So that should be a great primetime matchup. Getting to see Buffalo, Miami, division rivals, primetime. That'll be a must-see game.
Oh, definitely a must-see game. Is that game in Miami or is it in Buffalo?
It's in Miami.
Oh, okay, that's good. Warm weather.
Yeah.
Bills players are gonna be like, oh, this is gonna be great. It's gonna feel so good.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a great game.
Okay, the Sunday nighter, we had a great matchup between the Lions and the Rams. Lions ended up winning 26-20 in overtime. I really loved the matchup because you could see the trajectory of these two franchises who traded the quarterbacks for each other. And it worked out really well for LA right away, getting Stafford. They won the Super Bowl that year after they brought him in. But the bounty that Detroit got for taking on Goff and getting all the draft picks, now Detroit is actually probably better than LA. And they look like they're one of the teams to beat in the NFC. I looked at the trades and how it all broke down, and I'm amazed at how much they ended up getting. They got Goff, who is a very talented quarterback as well. They got 2 first-round picks and a third-round pick. They made some trades with those picks as well and ended up getting 6 extra players for that deal. So they ended up getting Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, Brandon Martin, Jameson Williams, Josh Paschal, and one of the cornerbacks they go, Melly Formwu. They ended up getting with Goff for that. And Jahmyr Gibbs had a great game. Sam Laporta's really talented. Jameson Williams, another awesome game. And it just really showed how smart they ended up being, building Detroit, finally building a team and a foundation around that they can be a solid team for years to come.
Solid team for years to come. Yeah. And they got the right head coach to do the job.
Yeah.
It's like we talked about it before, like it was 2-3 years ago. That man kept crying so much. And you're just like, you guys got to play harder for that man. You know that, right? You guys got to do right by him. And they have. They really have. And I want to put a star on Jameson Williams because he's the one receiver where I'm like, wait, who's this guy? we haven't really seen him for 2 years.
Yeah.
Because I think he was out for one season for gambling something, and then he was injured his rookie season. So all of a sudden it's like, who's this dude? But apparently from the off season to the preseason, the guys, like from all reports, he came in with a different attitude. He'd been working on his craft. He was a new and improved player.
Yeah.
It had shown that he might be their number one option over Amon St. Brown, like over him. Like I'm amazed. I was amazed at the effort he put in this game and just how electric and electrifying he was. 5 receptions, 121 yards, 1 touchdown. Like he was awesome. He was awesome.
Yeah, I was surprised that St. Brown only had 3 catches for 13 yards, because he was one of the elite guys last year. And all of a sudden he's being surpassed by a few of the new, adds to this team. So it's really stunning and awesome to watch. Goff had a decent game with 217 yards and a touchdown. Montgomery was good with 91 yards and a touchdown. Gibbs had a touchdown. Williams had a touchdown, like you mentioned. Laporta had a decent game. Alex Anzalone on defense, 10 tackles, 3 assists, and he was an absolute beast. Aiden Hutchinson, holy cow. That guy, they drafted number 1 overall in 2022, And wow,
Yeah,
that's a guy that
good draft
really
pick.
helps this defense so well. The pressure that he puts on the quarterback and the running game, absolute amazing beast. And yeah, Detroit's definitely one of the teams that you got to look for as being one of the elite teams in this conference, in this league.
Yeah, definitely one of the elite teams in the conference in the league. And I love the fact that Dan Campbell's like, I'm not changing my coaching philosophy or my approach. I'm going for
Kept going for
it.
it.
like
Fourth
literally, it's like every
down.
time we're
Yeah.
going for it.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, he made mistakes in the playoffs last year going
Oh
for it
yeah.
too much on fourth down, but yeah, he's got balls of steel and keeps
Yeah.
showing it.
Yeah.
On the other side of the ball, unfortunately, Puka Nacua got a knee injury, and he was suffering from a knee injury
Injury
in
before.
training camp, in preseason. Aggravated again, it looks like. They put him on IR today, and he'll be out at least 4 games. Unfortunately for them, but Cooper Kupp said, "Yay! Now you can just throw the ball right to me. Don't even have to worry about Puka anymore." He tied a career high with 14 catches.
Yeah.
He was all over the field, made so many spectacular grabs, and was that Cooper Kupp of a couple years ago where he was getting 10 to 15 catches a game. It was pretty incredible to see him back, and yeah, not having to share any targets with Puka.
No, no, because he doesn't want to share the ball anymore. It's like, no, my time. My time. Apparently he came in with a very much of an attitude of like, this is you're gonna see me back to where I was.
Nice.
The Cooper Kupp of old, the dominant Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
And if this game is just to show exactly what we're in for the rest of the season, Cooper, I pray that nothing bad happens to you, because I want to see this every week,
Yeah.
every Sunday. I
Oh,
want to see that every Sunday.
He's so
It was
fun to
awesome.
watch. Spectacular, just spectacular, incredible. Stafford had a fantastic game with over 300 yards passing and a
Yeah.
touchdown. And Kyron Williams, I really like him on the ground. He didn't have a spectacular game, but also scored a touchdown. And they've got a very balanced attack. Even losing Puka, I think this team's still going to look really good. So, as I mentioned a little earlier, the Rams host the Cardinals. That's the late afternoon game on Sunday, and the Lions host the Bucks. That's the early games on Sunday there. Okay, let's turn to the NFC North here, and the Bears and the Titans. Somehow the Bears won with one of the most absolutely brutal stinker games of
Awesome.
a #1 overall quarterback and a guy that was touted to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. Holy cow, did Caleb Williams stink up the joint? But the Bears had to use some scores from their defense, from their special teams, and they were able to get a much needed 24-17 win. Smoke and mirrors, somehow they did it. They had 148 total yards, 64 in the air and 84 on the ground. They were 2 of 13 on third down and only 11 first downs in the game. Only had the ball for just over 20 minutes, and Caleb was not good at all. It was rough, and but they won. That's all that matters in the end, isn't it?
That's all that matters. Williams was just ecstatic because he's like, "You won in spite of me." Yeah.
Yeah.
We just got to do that for the next 16 weeks. It was amazing. But here's the reason why they won. Will Levis, end of the game,
Oh my
decides to
God.
go, hey, I think I can make this pass like this.
Jeez.
As soon as he did that, I'm like, yeah, that's a pick.
What the hell was he thinking? Like, there's nothing good gonna come on a pass that you're throwing sort of backhand, straight arm underneath. Like, that so bad. He just gave him the game right there.
Yeah, he literally gave him the game. He goes, well, I didn't want to tell anybody, but I did go with my bookie and I had us losing. So
Yeah. Oh man. Brutal, yeah.
It was pretty brutal. It was
A
brutal.
lot of
Like, it was,
people talk pretty bad about him in the off season, and you thought, okay, why are the Titans, settling in on him? Maybe they see something we don't, and then, he throws a couple picks, just a terrible game, 127 yards, and that pick though was just the nail in the coffin, and it might lead to him looking for work very soon because that was something you cannot do.
no, you absolutely can't do that. Like, come on. Like, he was going down, and he must have seen him out of the corner of the eye, going, "Oh, he's open." No, he's actually not.
Oh,
He's not
man.
open. Just take the sack, man. So hopefully he learns from that and never tries anything like that ever again. I think he had a stern talking to from his head coach.
Oh man, big time. Hey, yeah. Tyreek Stevenson's like, yes, boom, I'm
Yeah.
gonna take that and run it to the house.
No.
43-yard return for the touchdown. They had also Jonathan Owens blocked a punt and returned it for a touchdown, and that was really what the difference was. Cairo Santos got them 3 field goals, and yeah, Titans were up 17-0 and blew
And
it. So
blew
I
it.
feel bad. I feel bad for Calvin Ridley. I feel bad for Tony Pollard, and I think it's gonna be rough, rough, rough in Tennessee this year.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be very good. Because especially if you got Will Levis doing mistakes of that magnitude,
Yeah.
it's going to be a rough season. Uh,
Titans host the Jets Sunday early window. The Bears go to Houston, and that's the Sunday nighters. So Caleb Williams better play a lot better, or that might be the first primetime game that's a stinker this season.
yeah,
Okay, NFC South. We've got a absolute blowout that we got to talk about briefly. The Saints were just so happy to have the Panthers up first. Panthers, worst team in the NFL last year, 2-15. Bryce Young had a pretty rough first season, but you think, okay, this team's actually going to draft well now. They're going to start getting the pieces they need. And then they just get blown out again, 47-10. Whoa, shellacking. They were down 30-0 in the second quarter. And I was like, oh my God, it's rough to be in Carolina. Ended up 47-10. That was the Saints' actual biggest blowout opening season win in their entire history. And Derek Carr, Alvin Kamara, Rashid Jaheed, all these guys were just like, woo, let's pad the hell out of our stats and have a fun day.
yeah, they had a great day. They had a great day. I think every team that plays the Panthers going forward for this season gonna have a great day.
Yeah.
A great day ahead of us, boys.
Yeah.
Great day.
Man.
I like the Panthers. I think it's not an over guess here. I think they might be the worst team in the NFL.
Yeah.
I think they are.
They're in trouble. Yeah, big
Yeah.
time.
Like, there's
Kamara,
nothing good about them. Like,
no.
I wanted to say, is there a bright spot? Is there one shine? No, there is nothing.
No.
There is nothing there.
Yeah.
Nothing.
No, it's rough. It's going to be rough. Derek Carr had a couple 100 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Yep.
Kamara had over 100 yards and a touchdown himself. Shaheed had a 59-yard touchdown. Foster Moreau, TD there. Jamal Williams had a touchdown. Juwan Johnson had a TD. Oh my God. Just on and on and on. And absolute butt kicking, and Panthers are in for more trouble. Luckily, they play my Chargers. Chargers are going to get it to go in there and beat on them on Sunday. The Saints travel to the Cowboys, so that'll be a stiffer competition for them in game 2. One of the upsets of the weekend happened in the Falcons-Steelers game. Everybody was calling the Falcons going to be the win. Kirk Cousins was supposed to come in and just really pick this Falcons team up and get them a big victory. The Steelers were in flux with Russell Wilson supposed to play, then he couldn't. Justin Fields had to come in. Fields didn't do great, but Chris Boswell was the man. 6 field goals on the day. Listen to the yardage that he had. This might be like a record for amount of yards for field goals that a guy makes in a day. First one was 57, 51, 44, 56, 40, and his last one was a little chip shot of 25. But yeah, he was the main, reason why they were able to pull out the win. Kirk Cousins looked pretty terrible. Maybe still not recovered from this Achilles injury. Had a couple picks that looked bad. Yeah, just looked a little, I don't know, it was rust or just maybe not mobile enough, but something seriously was wrong with Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, he didn't look stiff. Maybe that's, and also too, not familiar enough yet with the offense. I think that still will take a little bit more time.
Right.
I think it's going to look better, but it looked pretty rough this first week. And I, just from seeing it, how it played out for the first week, I got a sneaking suspicion it's going to look kind of rough second week too.
Yeah, especially against Philly. It's not going to be good the Monday nighter. Fields didn't make any mistakes. Decent enough. Put up over 200 yards with 156 yards through the air and 57 on the ground. Pickens had probably the best game for anyone in this game with 6 catches for 85 yards. TJ Watt, still a beast. Really good defense, this team. Adams had a sack. Deshaun Elliott had a pick. Dante Jackson had a pick, sorry. And yeah, pretty good one for Steelers. Tough loss for the Falcons. The Steelers head to Mile High, face the Broncos Sunday in the late window there. Okay. Let's talk about the Dolphins Jaguars game and how tough of a start it was when the Dolphins star receiver heading to the game in a very fancy car that drives over the speed limit sometimes, ends up in handcuffs and an altercation with police. They even handcuffed his teammate Clay Campbell, who stopped to see what was going on.
Tried to de-escalate the situation. Tried to de-escalate it. No, you're getting handcuffed too. It's like,
oh man. Got Scotty Schefflered. And I think they got to change the police that are around the perimeters of these events because, you're going to see Tyreek Hill. You should know him. And you're like, okay, Tyreek, hey, you came in a little fast, a little hot. Next time, just tone it down. See you in there. Have a great game. That's the conversation that needs to happen. That's all that needs to happen is the conversation of that. It should not end in a guy face down on the street in handcuffs. It should never escalated to that.
Yeah, have him down in handcuffs, and then have his teammate in handcuffs as well. Yeah. All right, like for me, again, we all know that there's certain issues with race down in the States. Don't tell me that it's not about race. It's absolutely what it's all about. Yeah. Once again, awesome stuff. Way to go, you freaking morons. Awesome. Yeah. Because you know what? It's more like if they just handled it correctly and handled it like professionals, this wouldn't be a story. Yeah. But you made it into one. Good job. Yeah. Now you got litigation. Now you got lawyers. And now you have Tyreek looking at his options because it looks like he's going to come after the Miami-Dade, as he should.
Yeah.
He should. So.
Yeah, it's just frustrating. And, we talked earlier on in the podcast about don't drink and drive. These situations don't need to get like this. They called him uncooperative. Well, I'd be mad too. And, you'd be mad if the shoe was on the other foot and you got pulled over. You're going to be a little bit upset. So, as I said, you approach the window, you say, hey, Tyreek, you were coming in a little bit hot there. Next time you do that, I'm going to give you a ticket. Hey, there's a lot of people in this general area. Please don't speed. And that's it. See you later. Have a good game. It does never need to end up with a guy in handcuffs. And Supposedly this officer now is on administrative leave while they do an
Yeah,
investigation. Some
that's
body
gonna make it
camera
better.
footage, I think, just came out over the past couple hours here. I guess we'll have to watch some of that. But you know, this we've all I've been in too many situations where, you know, this for some reason the police do not know how to just talk to somebody like a regular
Normal
guy
human
and
being.
just don't, you know, make it get to the situation. And especially, you know, this is probably the most famous man in Miami right now.
Yeah.
And you know, you know him. He's gonna drive a car. If you don't want somebody to speed, why are you selling any cars that go over the speed limit? There's gonna be a little bit of times when some of these cars go a little bit fast, but it doesn't ever need to get to this ridiculous type of situation. And very frustrating. I just, yeah, I just really wish that we just didn't have to talk about crap like this anymore. And you know, I think the
Great.
police just come off looking terrible again. And you know, there needs to be a way for this to not happen anymore. And you know, the police need to know how to just handle situations much better.
Well, of course, it would be great if they could. It would be great if they had the capacity or the capability. It
Yeah.
would be great if they could do all of these things.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a lot of them cannot. A lot of them have ego, and their ego dictates their actions and how they decide how a certain situation's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's not being a professional, by the way. That's just having your ego run rampant and then dictate to you how you believe it's going to be. You know, like so I commend Tyreek for not lambasting the police as he could have when he was up on the podium. He could have tore into him, and I wouldn't have seen a problem with it.
No.
Instead, he was trying to find a solution, and I give him all the credit in the world. He didn't have to.
Yeah.
He really didn't have to. So
I mentioned Scotty Scheffler, and after he was arrested and released, and he got to play, he played quite well. Obviously,
yeah,
went on to have a phenomenal season, the best season ever for
yeah,
you know, money prize winning, and one of the greatest golf seasons of all time. Tyreek Hill was able to shake it off, get 7 catches for 130 yards, and a touchdown, a nice 80-yard catch and run. Let's hope he ends up setting the all-time record this year. Ends up becoming, you know, has one of the greatest seasons of all time, and puts this behind him. And you know, we never see anything like this having to happen to him anymore. The one thing that really resonated with me that he said was, you know, just imagine if I
if I
wasn't
wasn't
Tyreek
Tyreek
Hill,
Hill.
you know,
Yeah,
yeah, like how am I going to get treated? You know,
exactly.
if I'm
Maybe he
Tyreek
doesn't make
Hill
it
and I
home.
get treated this poorly, you know, I
Yeah,
feel sorry for the other guys.
exactly. Maybe maybe if I'm not Tyreek Hill, maybe I don't even make it home.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't make it home.
Yeah.
Maybe you see me on the news going forward, right?
Yeah.
So that's what could have happened. I did love the fact of Tyreek Hill when he did get his touchdown. See that celebration? See what he did there?
Handcuffs behind his back.
Yeah, and then Waddle hit with the key and let him go. You're free. And then
Released.
he goes,
Yeah, that was
That
was
awesome.
hilarious. That was unbelievable. Oh man. Glad he handled it well for sure.
Yep.
The Dolphins did trail 14-0. And they were able to come back. That was the 4th comeback of that large of a deficit under Mike McDaniel. And that's the most since 2022 when he took over. McDaniel was very emotional on the podium when he talked about it as well. It really seemed to impact him, and you know, they've obviously become very close since Tyreek's been there. The other thing that stands out for me in this particular game was Canadian Javon Holland making the massive play by punching the ball out of Travis Etienne's hand as he was about to score a touchdown. Really ended up changing the whole complexion of this game. If they get that touchdown, you know, it could be curtains for the Dolphins, but great play by the Canadian, and nice to see Miami end up rebounding and getting the win.
Yeah, it was great. It was a great win by them. Tua had a great game with 23-37, 338 yards, and the 1 touchdown to Hill.
Yeah.
And Achane had a good game as well. 10 carries, 29 yards, and a touchdown, but 7 receptions for 76 yards.
Yeah.
That was huge. That was massive.
Yeah, he's when you get him out in space, oh man, he's phenomenal.
Right. He's
Was
quite the
able to
weapon.
get 100 yards, and Waddle also had a good game, 5 catches, 109 yards. They've got all those weapons there. The Jags played pretty well and seemed to be on their way early on. They just couldn't finish it off. Christian Kirk had a nice 30-yard touchdown. Brian Thomas Jr. had the other touchdown. Lawrence didn't play too fantastic, but yeah, the Jags will go and host the Browns on Sunday, early window. And as I mentioned, the Dolphins host Buffalo on Thursday, so that'll be fun. Okay, one of the upsets of the week, probably the biggest upset in my mind. Patriots were able to beat the Bengals 16-10. They were up 13-0 early on, and Ramondre Stevenson got the touchdown. Joey Sly got a few field goals, and it was pretty surprising. They were able to keep Burrow in check, really only allow 1 touchdown to the Bengals, and get a victory that nobody really was picking at all. I think the survivor pool, I heard, just lost massive amount of people that had put their hopes on the Bengals.
Yeah, because I definitely would have put my hopes on the Bengals. They made it into like a defensive slog somehow, and I was kind of watching this game, thinking to myself, well, how is Burrow's wrist? Because he had that weird wrist injury that only linemen get, which is the weirdest thing. Still don't understand how that happened. But he was 21 of 29, so he threw the ball well.
Yeah.
He just didn't go very far.
Didn't go far.
He only had 164 yards.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I'm like, okay, it's I guess it was just one of those games that you lose sometimes.
Yeah. Crazy, yeah. Bizarre. The Bengals have an even tougher test this coming week. They play the 2-time defending Super Bowl champions. That's in the later window on Sunday. The Patriots host the Seahawks in the early window. Okay, the Chargers and the Raiders played a divisional battle there. Chargers ended up winning 22-10. Herbert wasn't too great. Dobbins was able to get a touchdown, and their new rookie McConkey was able to get the other touchdown. Cameron Dicker got a few field goals, and their defense held out, was able to get a win over the Raiders, 22-10.
Well, yeah, Jim Harbaugh is now in charge. These things happen, which are wins.
Yeah,
wins happen with Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah,
that's what happens.
I do not like the offensive talent that the Chargers have outside of Herbert, but yeah, there's a pretty weak receiving core there, but yeah, you're right. I think Harbaugh can figure out how to win enough games for this team and going forward. They play the Panthers Sunday. Easy win there, I think. I'm going to count that. And the Raiders go to where do they go? They go to take on the they go to take on the Ravens, Lamar Jackson, and that's the early window Sunday. Speaking of Lamar, the Ravens were beat 27-20 by the Chiefs on opening night. A rematch of the playoffs, and Chiefs and Ravens have had a lot of battles. Ravens seem to always lose these ones, and especially in the playoffs. Another tough loss for the Ravens, but Chiefs just able to do enough to get another victory, and a really good way to kick off the NFL season.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Mahomes was awesome. Again, 20 of 28, 291 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. And his favorite passes to his favorite receiver, Rashid Rice, 7 receptions, 103 yards. He was awesome. But the thing that impressed me the most was the rookie, Xavier Worthy.
Yeah.
Well, you look at this guy and you go, wait, how did the Chiefs get that guy? like, like, who allowed that to happen? Like, why do you just allow them to just like, oh, we're just gonna pick up awesome people because everybody else doesn't think they're awesome? Super weird.
I think the Bills ended up trading down so they could make that pick, and it's got a lot of people like shaking their head because Worthy's the fastest player ever at the combine,
Ever.
and ever, which is shocking, and first time he touches the ball, reverse for a touchdown.
Touchdown.
He only touched the ball 3 times all night and got 2 touchdowns. So yeah, the rich get richer, and I don't know how everyone screwed up and allowed this to happen.
Well, it's almost like the Chiefs just go, just wait for it. Let everybody else make the wrong decision, the wrong choice.
Yeah.
And we'll just make the right one, like we always do.
Insane.
That's why we keep winning.
Unreal.
All the time.
Yeah. So shocking.
Yeah.
Okay, last game. We have the only game we haven't talked about. Texans beat the Colts 29-27. CJ Stroud looked great again, and Texans have really put this great team together. I was impressed with, on the other side, Anthony Richardson. Man, this guy's got an arm. Holy cow, some of those throws he made for touchdowns, incredible. I think good things are going to happen for the Colts this year if Richardson can stay healthy, but another really nice win for the Texans.
Very nice win for the Texans. Stroud was awesome, 24-32, 234 yards, 2 touchdowns. And the most important thing he did was he kept Stephon Diggs happy.
Yeah.
Yes, Diggs only had 6 receptions for 33 yards, but he had 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So all Stroud has to do is this. Keep getting that man touchdown. You won't hear a peep from him.
Yeah.
You miss him once.
Right.
Oh man, you're gonna hear it. So
yeah,
that's all you gotta do.
That's
just
true.
gotta keep giving that guy touchdowns. That's it. Oh, and by the way, Joe Mixon, massive night, 30 carries, 159 yards, 1 touchdown. He was awesome.
Yeah, he seems reborn now. He seems got himself out of Cincy, and he looks like a new man. So big game. As I mentioned, Texans host the Bears Sunday, the Sunday nighter, and the Coast go to Lambeau, take on the Packers in the early window. We have been taking up so much time, so we do have to go to the UFC, but really quick, we're going to try to fly through it as fast as possible. As I mentioned off the top, the UFC had a card where the main event and the co-main event was number 6 against number 8, and it was kind of wild to see these veterans try to hold that position, but the new up-and-comers were able to come and dominate, grab it, take switch positions with them. Really great performance for Sean Brady, beating a super tough, long-term veteran in Gilbert Burns in this one, and great fight. It turned out to be a really fantastic fight, but Brady was just a little bit better.
A little bit better, the step ahead. Yeah. I thought he was a step ahead the entirety of the match. The thing that really impressed me was the fact that his takedowns were always on point and on time.
Yeah.
Managed to get Gilbert down, who's incredibly hard to get down.
Very tough.
And the fact that he was able to grapple with him and keep his win for 25 minutes.
Yeah.
That was the most impressive thing. Totally. Was the fact that he seemed still fresh to me in the 5th round.
Yeah.
Going at that pace. And that was absolutely insane to me. Like he uses his cardio as a weapon, and he's good enough to do it. Like very impressive.
No, I love it. I was really surprised that he looks still fresh and able to last that whole 25 minutes. He hasn't had many fights last into those championship rounds, but really fantastic performance from him. And Burns should be proud too, but Brady was just a step ahead. In the co-main event, Natalia Silva employed a stick and move style and was so quick. Just the speed that she utilized when she threw her punches and then got the heck out of there and moved around. Andrade just chased her the whole entire fight, was able to land a few bombs, but the former champion was unable to really, get those shots in. enough. Silva dominated, landed way more, and really put on a fantastic performance that earned her $50K for the win.
Yeah, well earned 50K. Like you said, in and out movement, like lightning fast punches and kicks as well, and stick and move. Andrade was trying to trap her the entire fight and really never really succeeded.
No.
Only got her maybe a couple times here and there, maybe had her a little bit of trouble, but Silva's chin held up. Yep. And she was able to get out of there, wheel out, like circle out, and to continue her attack. So great win by Silva.
I actually think Silva's a champion in the future. I really see the, sky's the limit for her. She looked fantastic. Great game plan, stuck to it the entire time. And with the quickness, with the ability to land punches like she landed and move, I think she will be the champion at some point. The fight between the Canadian Kyle, the monster Nelson against Steve Garcia. I was looking forward to this. Nelson immediately got a takedown in this fight and took the back, and it looked like, okay, wow, this is where he should be. This is a very dominant position. Garcia was there for a little bit, finally got the spin, turned it around, and then just started unleashing ground and pound and a barrage of shots, elbows, and some serious power, and was able to finally get this stopped. Mark Smith had to jump in and save Kyle Nelson from more punishment.
Yeah, he literally unleashed hell. He unleashed hell, and it was ground and pound, stuck with the ground and pound, hurt Nelson, over.
Yeah. That's
very
a good
impressive
straight win for the Mean Machine, and celebrated with his Winklejohn, Jackson Wink team, Greg Jackson, Mike Winklejohn, and very impressive performance. That team's always impressed me. They fight at the high elevation. GSP was a longtime trainer there. Holly Holm, John Jones, Andre Arlovsky, and on and on and on and on. Cowboy Cerrone, and great camp, and very good performance from Steve Garcia. Okay, this other fight between Matt Schnell and Cody Durden. Durden had to come in, late replacement, only a week's notice had to replace Alessandro Costa. And he came in custom made and was just throwing, just toe-to-toe banging early on. And I was, really like, wow, I hope this is 3 rounds of this. For some reason, early on, maybe because he took too many shots from Durden in that first round, Schnell decided to try to go for a takedown. Immediately, Durden put in this ninja choke. No matter how much Schnell just flopped around, tried to get out of it, was unable to, had to tap, and the fight was over. 50K also for Durden. 1 week notice, and a really nice victory.
Oh, beautiful victory. I didn't know that they were actually friends, so that was kind of cool. That was a little bit of an aside, but they went toe to toe in that first round. That was super entertaining. I was like, I can't wait to see 2 more rounds of this. But then Schnell just made, and that's the beauty of this game. You make one little mistake, and that could be all she wrote. He made a little mistake. He left his neck out there too much on the takedown attempt, locked up that ninja choke, and then just spun with him as he was trying to spin out. Couldn't spin out, had to tap. Beautiful win by Durden. Beautiful win.
Super great win. The fight that kicked off the main card was Trevor Peek against Yanel Ashmouz. Ashmouz used his takedowns and constantly was threatening that. 18 attempts, he got 9 of them for takedowns. Frustrated Peek big time. I'm definitely not a Peek fan, so I was quite happy. Really good way to start off this card. He outstruck him and out-grappled him. Got a really big win. Peek looked super frustrated almost throughout.
Yes. Peek, your guy, was definitely frustrated. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. But he was super frustrated. Like, Peek is always looking for a guy just to bang with him. And he found it hard to find Ash Moose because Ash Moose is smooth. He's like the Red Fox. He's there to hit you and not be hit.
Yeah.
Like, that's his art. That's his style. That's what he does. And he's got great head movement on top of that. So trying to headhunt him is a wasted effort. Peak actually at times did the right thing, which is attack the body, because that's a lot easier to hit. But, he only did that sometimes.
Yeah.
He did that when it was, it was the right thing to do. He just didn't do the right thing all the time.
Enough. Yeah.
He didn't do it enough. And Ash Moose was fantastic. He was great. He got the grappling and the takedowns. Great win by Ash Moose.
Yeah. Okay. The fight between Rong Zhu and Chris Padilla, I was really enjoying it. Very good first round that really was back and forth. Very hard to score because I thought Padilla outstruck him, but Rong's punches were really powerful and were getting a lot of damage done. But then second round comes in and Padilla just decides to throw this elbow that was just brutal, just a lethal, brutal elbow. And it's been a while since I saw eye swell up that fast, that much, and just doctor, the referee had to say, let's call in the doctor. Look, the doctor took one look. There's no way he can see out of that eye. Had to call it. Padilla gets the win. And I think Rong Zhu even thought that it was an eye poke because he really didn't see where it came from. But it just was lethal elbow.
Lethal elbow came over the top of a thrown punch. It was perfect technique, and it was a perfectly thrown elbow.
Yeah,
that's why Rong Zhu didn't see it. And I do not disagree with the doctor stoppage.
Yeah,
that eye looked like a freaking goose egg. And I'm sorry, you now have the potential to lose your eyesight in that eye if this fight continues.
Yeah,
right thing to do. Beautiful stoppage.
Yeah,
I totally back that 100%.
Yeah,
great win by Padilla.
That was that was referee Kerry Hatley, who we don't see all that much, but he was he did the right thing, calling the doctor in. I hope he was able to go get immediate medical attention. If they let that fight continue, that really could got way worse. If it swelled up that big, that fast, it wasn't going to just suddenly dissipate. They needed to get some medical attention on that right away.
Right away, man. Like it was a perfect strike, literally to that man's eyeball. So yeah. The fight should be called. Good stoppage.
The fight between Isaac Delgarian and Brendan Marat. Delgarian was the biggest favorite in UFC history, minus 2,400. He proved why, because he just took immediate takedown, had total control. There wasn't even a second in this fight where he wasn't in total control of this fight. Tried sinking in the arm triangle choke first round. Amazingly enough, Marat was able to get out of it. He was unable to later on in that second round. Finally had to tap, and the fight was done. I don't like mismatches like this, but it is great to see somebody that is that skilled was able to just dominate and was in control for the entirety of the fight.
Yeah, he mauled it. Mauled it. As soon as the bell rung, he's like, "It's gonna maul this guy. I'm not gonna give him a chance to do anything."
Yeah,
nothing. He gave him a chance to do nothing. That dude walked into the octagon to get beaten up.
Yeah,
and then he went home with an L.
That was it. Yeah,
that was it.
That was it. Okay, the other fights: Felipe dos Santos, Andre Lima, decision. Gabriel Santos, Yiza. Do you want to mention anything about them? They're just decisions, and I don't have anything super strong to talk. But do you have anything to mention?
I just thought that Lima looked really good. Like, he was very calm, cool, and collected in his fight against Dos Santos. Took his time, and eventually, as the fight wore on, began to pick him apart on his.
Yeah. There was a little bit of controversy in the Jacqueline Amarim fight against Vanessa Little Monster Demopoulos. Unfortunately, Demopoulos should have complained later on, but she said she was grabbing her glove. And in that
Inside
time,
the
while she
glove.
was protesting, all of a sudden, boom, it was
Put the
taken
arm bar.
in. She got an arm bar, had to
Tap.
tap, and the fight was over. She screamed bloody murder, but they didn't care. And Jacob Montalvo was the ref there. He said he heard her, saw it, but you still got to defend yourself, and she didn't, and she got the yell.
I like that. It's like, yeah, I saw it. It was super illegal. But she didn't defend herself, and then she lost.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So a foul was committed. Okay. Cool. As long as we got that part straightened out. Awesome.
Yeah, pretty bizarre, but it's kind of true. Just
yeah. You have to defend yourself at
complain
all
later,
times.
you know, just
Exactly.
don't while you're in trouble like that, yeah, you got to defend yourself. So
that the ref is not going to rescue you, as he just showed. It's like, no, I see it. But defend yourself. Oh, you've lost.
yeah.
Not a big deal.
Okay, we've got Noche UFC coming up this Saturday. First time they've ever used the title sponsor, Riyadh Season, which is kind of wild. As I mentioned, 20 million. Might not be sold out, but it'll be fantastic to watch. Can't wait to see it. Really excited about it. Excited about those two title fights and the Ortega against Lopez fight. That fight was supposed to happen earlier this year and didn't because Ortega got sick on his weight cut. So that didn't happen. I think that's going to be fight of the night, in my opinion. And I'm pretty damn excited about that. What are your thoughts?
I want to see my girl Shevchenko get her title back. That's my thought.
Nice.
That's my thought. That's the number one thought. First and foremost thought, because I'm a huge Shevchenko fan. That's my lady. I pray to her altar at night. It's amazing. Now, the next thing I want to say, the O'Malley Davishvili fight. If styles make fights, that's the most opposite end styles that you could ever conceive of for this fight.
Yes.
The most opposite ended styles of striker versus grappler. Period.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens, because if there's one thing, like Sean O'Malley's already said, cool, I got something to target. I'm going to target that cut that Davishvili had in training. He's already said that. That's great, because Davishvili's like, don't care, going to keep coming after you. It's not going to stop me. And it won't.
No.
So it's going to be awesome to see. I want to see how Sean O'Malley's going to defend the takedowns, because guess what, buddy? They're coming. Yeah. They're coming. He must be like practicing knees up the middle and uppercuts. Short shot uppercuts and knees up the middle, because Davishvili is coming. He's going to have to mask his shots in a certain way so that it's not like obvious. Yeah. Or else he's going to eat hard knees, hard shots. Yeah. So I'm excited to see it.
Sean O'Malley, when he beat Aljamain Sterling, I was quite surprised. I thought Aljo was, one of the greatest takedown artists in this division, and I thought that was the key to victory. Yeah. And I didn't see Sean O'Malley doing it. Merab is Aljo's number one best friend, teammate, and so it gives me a little bit more confidence that Sean can win this. If that fight didn't happen, I think I would just be maybe putting the whole house on Merab, because his domination of takedowns and being able to grapple and stuff. So yeah, I definitely think I'm favoring Merab a little bit, but seeing what O'Malley did to Aljamain Sterling, it really put some doubt there.
I remember it, but I also remember what Merab did to Peter Yan.
Yeah.
I remember what Merab did to Peter Yan.
Right.
So with that being said, I'm like, all right, man, let's see it. Let's see how this all comes out, because I'm just excited. I don't know what to expect. Could Sean O'Malley hit him with the perfect shot, hit him with the perfect Conor McGregor, Jose Aldo shot? He could.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to happen, but he could. Or could Merab just I'm just going to maul you like I did Peter Yan.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that could
yeah.
happen too as well.
I mean, that's where Marab really entered the realm of, takedown king, and just
Yeah.
really started to make you think, holy cow, who can defend this?
Yeah.
He's just so incredible at it. So, I know you want Shevchenko. Grasso's been able to beat her twice.
Well,
You,
second
did
time
you,
was
do
a
you think
draw.
that second time it was a split? Oh, sorry, it was a split draw, was it? Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
split draw. That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
So let's get that straight.
Right, right,
All
right,
right.
right. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Um, do you think Valentino's gonna take her belt back?
Yes, I believe in her.
Okay.
I trust in her. I trust in the process. I've trusted in her from the first moment she stepped into the UFC to the time that Grasso stole her belt, stole it. Lexa stole her belt. So I think this redemption time. I don't think she's gonna let this go to no damn draw. It's winning time. It's
Nice.
winning time. Because if Valentina does not win and Grasso wins, that's it. There's no more title shots for Valentina.
Yeah.
Not for a while, anyways. So this is it. Like,
In
she
this
has to
division.
get it back.
Yeah. That's why I'm so shocked that you never took that invitation I gave you to meet Shevchenko.
Oh, yeah.
I got a chance to meet her twice while she was here for UFC 289 in June of last year. And I sent you an invite to come down and meet her, and you said you couldn't. I was like, wow, I thought he would move mountains to meet his favorite fighter of all time.
I'm pretty sure there was something very important in my life that I had to do at that point in time. Otherwise, I would have moved 2 mountains to go see her.
Yeah.
2 mountains. But I think, honestly, I think there was something that was a little bit more pressing at that point in time. I can't remember what it was, but it was pretty important.
Okay, just a brief mention about that Diego Lopez Brian Ortega fight.
Yep.
Ortega got sick trying to get to that weight. Do you see him being able to figure it out better this time, and being able to be fully healthy when he has to face Diego, who's super tough guy?
How about this? He better have figured it out this time. All right, this is your job. You got sick, and these things happen. Cool. You can't have that happen again, or else you're out of the weight division.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't be there anymore, right? So he better have his dietitian and his diet on point, and I'm sure since he's had this massive problem last time, he's probably had his diet on point for the last 7 weeks.
Yeah.
At least I would have been on point for the last 2 months, to be honest with you, just to make sure that there could be no complications for the weigh-in this time around.
Yeah.
It can't be, because if there is, you know how Dana reacts to that. Not well.
Yeah.
Not well. So
I was very impressed with Ortega's last victory over Yair Rodriguez. I kind of felt like they threw him like a sacrificial lamb, and was expecting Rodriguez to take that title. Obviously, the last fight for Diego was the fight against Dan Ige, where Ige got so much attention because he got called just a few hours before the fight and came in and fought. But Diego looked fantastic in that fight. And actually, the funny thing is, when I looked into the deep story about that, Ige had been in camp preparing for another fight for about 2.5, 3 months. And the guy that had the lesser notice, really kind of not the long training camp, was Diego. So, but everybody talks about it because he just called in, had to weigh in that day and fight right away. But it's kind of, Diego's super tough, and this should be one of the fights of the year, I think.
Yes, and I hope it is, because I've been waiting for this fight for a long time. Lopez is on the come up. Ortega has been one of the best forever in that weight division. And just as long as everybody makes weight, because, well, I'm not worried about Lopez. He's definitely going to make weight.
Yeah.
A little bit worried about Ortega. As long as he's taking the right steps, I think he should be fine. And I can't wait for this fight.
Who are you picking in the Canelo fight?
Canelo's fighting. Who's it again?
Edgar
Um,
Langa.
is Langa, is he undefeated or something like that?
Yeah,
I don't know.
22-0.
Yeah, okay, let's go with this. Canelo, all the way. I think it goes to decision, but yeah, this Langa, Hanga, Wanga, whatever he
Berlanga.
is,
Berlanga.
Berlanga, whatever this dude is, Canelo gonna beat him.
Okay.
Canelo all the way. Because you want to know why? Canelo's got all of Mexico behind him. Every Latino, he's got all that power,
Yeah.
all that juice coming into the boxing ring. And he's just like, I got Latino power. Like, I can't lose. Like, I don't think he's ever lost on that Mexican independent. Like, I don't think he's ever lost on that day.
No.
So it's almost like that's his special power. It's like, that's why I do these fights on that day, because I can't lose on that day.
Yeah.
I literally can't lose.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool. I was looking at some of the details. Canelo says that he gets 80% of the revenue from ticket sales and concessions, and he's actually expected to make about 35 million, and they think Berlanga might make about 1. So 35 to 1 is pretty insane difference, but obviously Canelo is the draw.
Yeah.
He'll come into this fight 61 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws with 39 KOs. And a few belts are on the line, but they did strip one of his belts because he didn't fight the number 1 mandatory challenger. But that's boxing for you. But this should be pretty awesome. I can't wait for the details to emerge on how many pay-per-view buys, what kind of attendance both of them had. I think the Sphere holds a lot less people than the MGM Grand or whatever. So I think Canelo will probably outdraw him, but I'm still really looking forward to both events and definitely the Sphere.
Yeah, like I hope that both events are very successful. End of the day, I hope both events are very successful, and it's just a great night of fights across the board. And this Wanga or Berlanga. Oh, I'm so sorry. Berlanga. I hope he actually puts on a great performance.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants to see a great fight. And not Canelo just starts the young man and just crush his soul and crush everything about him and send his career into a spiral. That would stop.
We've seen Canelo do that to too many guys. Yeah.
Yes.
The long list of guys over the years.
Yes. Long list. Long list.
Okay, man. Well, I sure appreciate it. Sorry we went so long, but we covered a ton of great stuff. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun as always. And week 1 in the books.
That was it.
NFL is back, baby. Yes. And then I get to see the Jets, the 49ers.
Yeah.
I'm going to catch up on that game. I'm going to see Aaron Rodgers not get hurt. Don't do that to me. And I'm expecting a great game. Great game.
Me too. Yeah, can't wait. One last NBA note. Chris Paul to the Spurs. How bizarre is that? And I want you to make a comment on the new $100 million man that we're going to see in the NBA. You sent me that details the other day. Pretty shocking. I'm glad I think, did he reach out to Shaq and ask for advice, or Shaq just offered
Shaq
the
reached
advice?
out to him.
Oh, okay.
Shaq reached out to him. Okay. So, let me start off with the Chris Paul thing. I think that is an excellent marriage because he can give Victor Wembanyama his expertise, his wisdom, his knowledge, his experience. And plus, on top of that, it's pretty beneficial to always get wisdom and knowledge from one of the best point guards ever in the NBA.
True.
Number one. And then also, too, he now finally has a guy that's just going to be like, toss it at the rim. I'll probably just like catch it and dunk it every time. So that's like 10 easy points right away every game because it's like 5 alley-oops that he's just going to toss up there from anywhere. You just fire him up there. So that's number one. The second one is our $100 million man, our future $100 million man. That's Luka Doncic. And so for his next Supermax contract could potentially be $500 million for 5 years.
Yeah.
$100 million per year.
Awesome.
That is, first off, it is awesome because it's awesome to see that these guys, like, this is where the NBA has built up to this point. Every era has led to this, where finally these guys are like, that's generational money from one contract. I'm set up, my family's set up, my kids are set up from this one contract. By the way, there's going to be another one after that. So that means Luka will literally be one of the first people to have an NBA contract in 2 contracts, make $1 billion.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think it's somewhere between 75 and 80 billion dollars, these new TV contracts. So, you know, the salary cap's going to rise up, and you know, we're going to just see some epic money handed out, and yeah, these guys are going to make generational wealth for sure. It's going to be so wild to see.
Yeah, it's good. You know what? These guys are the best at what they do on the planet. Not everybody can do it. And guess what? That's how they get compensated.
Yeah. And I hope he listens to Shaq, because Shaq's been one of the most successful businessmen in the world since he retired. How much money has he made?
Yeah, exactly. And he didn't do it with just his NBA contracts. He didn't do it that way. He did it with, you know, other business ventures and deals. Yeah. And he's grown as well. Even though it's still, I still find it quite disturbing that Conor McGregor almost has as much money as Shaq already. Don't know how he did that.
Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, that is crazy. It's nuts.
Okay, man. Well, enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy the football, and keep in touch. We'll talk soon.
Okay, we'll talk soon, my friend. Take it easy.
Thanks. You too. Cheers. Bye for now. Okay, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Appreciate your time as always. Thanks for sticking into the bitter end. It was a long one, but hope you loved it as much as we love doing it. NFL was busy this weekend. Lots going on. UFC, the smaller card this weekend, the UFC Vegas 97, but wow, this Noche UFC is going to be fun. And the Canelo fight, and yeah, anything else that'll happen on. So love you guys lots. Take care of yourself. Thank you to our partners and sponsors. You know who you are, and we will talk to you soon. Love you guys lots. Bye for now.